you're lying to me, I'll be back.
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's Jez7780 here with Grinds My Gears with episode 5 of the gaming Grindhouse. We're still waiting on the grinders to join up, but right now I just wanted to go live. I don't want to keep the grinders waiting. I see you guys in the chat. You're all wound up, ready to go. You know what? I said let's go live. Frog's jumping in. We got Chris Righteous coming on, and we got J Dubs in the house. He'll be coming on in a little bit, and they'll be coming on for the segments that we have with the GrindsBoard in the gaming Grindhouse. As you can see, I've been messing around with a couple of things here. I started with, I moved everything over to Streamlabs OBS, so sorry with that. I'm seeing if it's working right now. It looks like it is. So, some technical difficulties with a little bit of a delay here, so everything looks good. And brand new, and I'll be plugging it a lot. Let's make sure the chat's working. Buck Rogers, it says that he's working here. Let's make sure. Live chat. Let's make sure that chat's feeding. I don't know. Let me make sure that you guys can see yourself. And just working that out. Yep, I got Buck Rogers, the Ravenflow Stream Element Spot. Yep, we're working. It's working. Because I moved it all over, man. So that's why I was making sure this chat box is working and pumping hard. And I see that Frogs has joined in. So, yeah, and as you can see in the lower left-hand corner, Grinders, as a new sub comes on, you will be welcomed to the Grindhouse. So let's see if that works. If everybody new here, feel free to test out that subscribe button and see if your name pops up on the Welcome to the Grindhouse. Thank you, Buck Rogers. Sound is good. Chat is working. I see that is working there. So, well, I also have a couple of new sound bites. And we got some topics to talk about, man. The GrindsBoard, I almost had to go to a GrindsBoard part 2 for this thing. But, just while we're waiting, and I see Frogs is getting his stuff together. Anybody check out that Super Bowl yesterday? Oh,
crazy, man.
Yo, there he is. There's Frogs. Yeah, but Frog, just a prelude. What did you think about that Super Bowl yesterday?
I honestly thought that the Super Bowl was going to be a closer game than it actually was. I didn't expect it to be just a runaway game, but I think after I saw Tampa score, what was it, their second touchdown, and I watched Kansas City, it's just like they just got in field goal range and kept having to kick it. I said, okay. I said, it just seems like they're not going to let them in the end zone, and it's just going to. I said they're just going to keep having to kick freaking field goals, and I said Tampa's going to win it unless something changes. Hey, that halftime show, man, the Weeknd was out there doing his thing. It's a pretty cool halftime show.
Yes.
My sister-in-law, she went to the Super Bowl because she's a healthcare worker here in the Tampa area. So yeah, she thoroughly enjoyed it. We got to see the streaker running out on the field with a freaking pink thong and freaking short. Oh man.
Damn!
Only in Florida, man. Only in Florida. But shout out to Hillsborough County Police Department. They went out there and tackled his ass and got him off the field. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. And the sad thing is, I think he was a Tampa fan, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh man! Well,
I don't even know how he got on the field.
Dude, it was what do you think though with this whole this Brady and Tampa Bay? Obviously Kansas City didn't show up to play, and Mahomes needs to slap every single one of his offensive linemen.
I was really I'll say Tom Brady is, as far as football is concerned, he's as a quarterback, man. He's just man. Wow.
They said Phil Ness was the streaker. Oh damn.
I will say that
he was throwing out
that,
Game Pass subs. Oh damn.
This is one of those games you look at and you're like, hey, you know what? It's
one
of those
team
things
wanted
you
it
kind of
more.
look at.
Brady wanted it more,
It's
man.
I don't even know, man. Sometimes like I look and I'm just like, man, some of this stuff, I've never looked at the Super Bowl and think that it's been staged more than the Panthers. When the Panthers went all season and basically didn't lose a game, they get the Super Bowl and they just get blown out. And
yeah,
I'm just I just don't. Sometimes I look at these games and I think these games are kind of staged. It's kind of like
really? You think you're going on that?
Sometimes I think they are, man.
Well, I definitely think the first half, man. I think the first half was definitely some of those calls by those refs.
It was crazy, man.
I was like, uh-oh.
And look, I'm not a Tampa fan. I'm not a Kansas City fan, but obviously I wanted Tampa to win because that's where I live. So, I'm not really a diehard Buccaneers fan.
That's right, Froggy.
I go for any team. In the state I live in.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you, I'm a diehard Jets fan, and my Jets suck
and I'm a Giants fan. So I saw that Eli Manning was trending after that match. Thing is Kip, I'm not a huge Brady fan. Okay, I am a New York Giants fan.
I'm not a Brady fan at all.
Yeah,
but
obviously, I'm a
Jets fan.
You're a Jets fan. Then Brady's been haunting you for all these years.
Yeah,
what's up, Brady?
I've never liked the Patriots. I'm not a big Brady fan, but I respect what Tom Brady does on the field,
and that's
and that's as far as it goes. What I'll say is him coming to Buccaneers and getting him a Super Bowl ring, in a sense of he had a lot to do with that, and I think that the fact that Tampa has won a Super Bowl is great.
Yeah,
I was going to go for Tampa. Like I said, I live in Tampa. This is my area. Any team in my state that goes to something like hockey
obviously, you guys been winning crazy, man, in all sports.
Yeah, Tampa's been winning everything.
Yeah,
Tampa. Look, I'm gonna tell you, the state of Florida itself, man, has been going to every championships and just winning. Because Tampa has we got a
Rays,
we got a hockey,
Jays,
we got a cup.
Bay Rays, the Rays.
We got a cup. Our Rays almost won it. They almost won it. Let's see, hockey, we got a cup. Football, and then basketball. If the Heat had freaking won it, Florida this year. Florida's been on fire.
They've been,
As far as there's three things Florida's been on fire with. Florida's been on fire with their sports this year. They've been on fire with their COVID cases, and they've been on fire. Hey, I'm just telling you.
I saw all that stuff, man. Hopefully you didn't get affected by those people celebrating in the streets, beating up the one-way sign.
Let me tell you this, man. So I asked my sister-in-law, I said, when I saw the stadium and I saw these people, and I was like, how the hell is this how can they not get COVID? And my sister-in-law was like, there was paper cutouts. She's like, I was sitting next to 5 paper cutouts.
No, but did you see them celebrating in the street and destroying the signs and stuff? After the championship win.
Dude,
man.
You know what? That happens
It happens everywhere, man.
Let me tell you, every city that wins the Super Bowl, the same thing happens. Tampa's no exception. You got idiots running around.
Everybody has an excuse.
Let me tell you, I watched so many people without masks running around. I was like, you know what? This is why the COVID freaking is gonna increase, because it's stupid stuff. And the reality is, to me, is like I kind of expected this. I'm just happy they didn't really tear the streets up like some. There's some cities who do it. They do it crazy.
Oh, of course. But you know what? The thing is, my take on it, I'm a Eli Manning fan, but as Captain Crunch said, he says he doesn't like Brady, but holy shit, you got to respect how he gets his teammates to believe.
Oh,
and you want to know what, man?
I respect him.
That guy, he is he still plays like somebody wrote in the chat. Yeah, Froggy says he played like he was 10 years younger. And you're right. Yeah. This guy led this team. He got Gronk. They gave him what he needed. And this guy went to the Super Bowl like he's never been there before, and he just lit it up. Yeah. Yo, what's up, Salty?
You know what's funny that you said that? That's exactly true. He went to the Super Bowl like he'd never been there.
And the Kansas City went there we were here last year. All right, so we'll do it again. And I'm going to say Mahomes, the thing is dealing with Philadelphia with the Eagles.
I feel bad, man.
Dude, that guy tried. Man. He was limping. his offensive line gave up
Now,
in the
let me tell
second
you
half,
something.
man. They
I,
gave
I
up.
respect him so much just watching him just run and
Yo,
dip
he
and dodge.
couldn't.
Hey, he was doing
His line sucked.
he was doing a dodgeball, man. Duck, dip,
Yo,
dodge, and duck
he was
again.
running back like 20, 30
they,
yards. Like,
yeah, they couldn't. And then they wouldn't catch him. I'm like, holy crap, man, this is crazy. I don't know, man. I will
yes,
say
Captain.
that I respect it, but sometimes when I look at some of these games, I think some of these games are like it's kind of geared towards like, hey, you're gonna win. We know you're gonna win.
Oh,
And
I don't know.
Like going into this, once Tampa made it, I was like, okay. I was like, if the 49ers go, I said they're gonna. I'm not the 49ers. I said if Kansas City goes, they're gonna beat them. I thought Tampa was gonna win from the beginning. Once they were the team. It was like, okay, they're definitely going. I was pretty sure that they were gonna win it, but I didn't think they were gonna win it by that much of a point spread.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be close.
They didn't even score a touchdown. Kansas City didn't even score a touchdown. But anyway, it was a good halftime show. We got some good memes out of it. So those floating around on Twitter today. But man, I had to say, it was boring of a game.
Those commercials are pretty horrible. Those Super Bowl commercials. I think the only one that really stuck with me was the one with Drake from State Farm.
That was pretty funny. Yeah. That was pretty
Other
funny.
than that, like most of those commercials were I don't know. Super Bowl commercials used to be good.
Yeah.
These commercials were trash.
Who knows? They had limited time to. I have no clue what the hell's going on. But you know what?
Man.
Congratulations to Tampa Bay. Brady brought you to Super Bowl rings. Damn, that guy now, he has so many friggin' rings. The next Super Bowl ring's going to be a friggin' cock ring. Let's move on from that one. Holy shit. Let's go.
Phil Spencer glory hole.
Speaking of Phil Spencer glory hole, let's go, and we're going to start. Everybody, we're going to start with what we played, and actually goes right into the first topic. So we're going to be going what we've been playing and what we're looking forward to, waiting on the other grinders to come in here. Hit that like button, hit that share button, and let's start the gaming Grindhouse. All right, so with that, we'll hit that. We'll hit that Destruction All Stars as the first topic. But what else have you been playing, Frog? Besides Destruction All Stars,
okay,
because we played that night about a week ago.
Yeah, Destruction All Stars. I've been playing it off and on. Let's see. Let's look at my gaming. So I've been playing Control. I really can say I didn't like the game when I first played it on the PS4. I think it ran. I think it's because I'm gonna be honest. I think it just ran horribly, and it had this film grain kind of look to it, and it was like the game was real. As they say, like the graphic, it was noisy. It was like a lot of artifacting noise. I didn't like the way it played.
Yes.
Dude, I'm playing this on my and I've tried. Let me tell you this. I tried performance and I tried both modes, right? And this is what I'll say. My wife sat down next to me and she watched me play a little bit of it. And I got to the first boss. And she's like, and she's like, this is a weird game. And I'm like, yeah. And she's listening. She's like, I thought it was a TV show, just playing it. Yeah. And I got to the first boss and I'm throwing stuff at him and cracking him in his head. And I'm playing it.
That's the one that throws all the stuff at you, right?
Yeah, and she's like, this is so cool. She's like, look how you can see your reflection in the mirror, because I was playing the ray tracing mode, and I was like, oh, there's another mode. I was like, is this the 60 frames? And she's like, well, what's the resolution? I said, it's the same resolution. It just runs at 60 frames, and I turned it off, and I saw you playing at 60, and she was like, nah. She's like, I like the realistic look of like the ray tracing where you can see it. And I've been playing in ray tracing mode with a lock 30, and I haven't, I love a lot of people that's blasphemy. You got to play at 60 if it has it.
Yeah.
I think, and this is what I honestly think, I would like to play at 60 with the ray tracing. I would like them to do a mode, say, here's 1080p with ray tracing, because I'm pretty sure they could do that. Here's a 1080p with the ray tracing. I would love to play 1080p with ray tracing 60.
Yeah.
But right now I'm playing at the 1440p at 30 frames with the ray tracing. I'm playing with the ray tracing because it makes, I guess,
It makes it look a lot there. You can see a lot of it, especially with the interiors,
like, okay,
with the
playing
glossiness
at 60.
stuff.
Could I play at 60? Yeah, but the fact that I'm like, this is not a game I'm competing against people online with. This is a go at your own pace single player experience. I don't mind playing at 30 with the ray tracing. I kind of got all the bells and whistles, and I kind of wish they would do what Spider-Man did and say, you know what, for those people who want 60 frames with ray tracing, we got a mode for you, 1080p. Because I imagine this game could probably play at 1080p 60 with ray tracing. It probably could. I don't know why developers don't do those 3 modes. Give people, here's your 30 frames with the ray tracing.
It's called PC options, I guess.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. I think
we will talk a lot about Control. So what else did you play? I have that on the list.
Now on current gen. So yeah, we'll talk about Control. But what else am I playing? Let's see. I've been playing. Got back into Demon Souls. Started playing that again.
That too.
Rogue Company, got a new character. I'm a Rogue Company.
Yes.
Man, I'm a huge fanatic of that game. They added actually a season pass to Rogue Company. Rogue Company, man, they're doing a lot of great things. Kind of makes me wish they would bring back Cliff Blazinski's last game on PlayStation.
You keep saying that Lawbreak is bringing back. Cliff Blazinski is gone. He's done.
Look, he's
retired. Drinking Mai Tais.
Lawbreakers right now, and take some of these models, these season passes, make it free to play. That's what I'm saying. Make it a free to play game on PlayStation. Bring a season pass. I think it can be rebooted, but I don't know. I've also been playing. Let's see. A little bit of Modern Warfare.
Yes.
What else?
I jumped back into that yesterday. I played in that. That map. What was it? The game show map.
So
that was pretty cool.
So I downloaded. And let me. I gotta talk about this, man. Sony. Look, I don't know what the hell is going on with these studios. Now, the reason I'm saying Sony is because this is one of these console exclusive games. It's also on PC, but it's a console exclusive game, and I don't know what's going on with these companies. So Neo 2 and Neo 1 Remastered came out. Well, I own both games. Well, for some reason, I guess, who was it? Koei Tecmo? I think that's who makes the game, or publishes and designs the
Tecmo, yeah.
They decided to give you, if you had the games, if you had part 2, they gave you the remaster for free.
Yes.
But they didn't. If you had part 1, they didn't give you. You had to buy part 1 over again. I was like, why would you? I don't get that. I don't know what it's like. Hey, we're gonna remaster these games, and if you own them, you get the PS5 version. But hey, you'll get the PS5 version for part 2, but for part 1 you won't. And I'm like, why wouldn't you give me both of them? So I downloaded it, and I played the what is this, 60 frames mode? Because Neo 2, I beat Neo 1. I almost platinum it. Neo 2, I barely played that, barely scratched the surface. And I would say it looked sharper, but it was more or less, I could say, just the frames and how it played, just that lock 60. It felt good, but Neo is not a game that, to me, at any point that I ever, because it could already do 60 to me for the most part. And maybe it's because I was playing on the PS5, but I didn't really have a problem with. I don't see why that game really needed to be remastered. I think it's something they could have just patched. Yeah. Like, to me, I'll be honest with you, I don't know why they took this game and they said remastered, because it graphically doesn't jump leaps and bounds over the PS4 version. So I don't know. And I even watched.
Yeah, I looked some videos. I don't
freaking. I would honestly say Neo is a great game. Neo 1 and 2 are great games, but I would say this is probably one of the weakest remasters in such a long time. And maybe it's just because I played it on the PS4 Pro and I didn't have that much of a problem with it, and then like playing on the PS5, I didn't have a problem. Then they remastered and I played it on PS5, and I was like, "What's the difference?" I couldn't really tell.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell. And my dog, of course.
Dog's tactile.
Yeah, that's about all. That's about all I'm playing, man.
Gotcha. So, and I've seen a grinder. Yeah. So I was going through the Twitter, and I saw our next guest, Chris Righteous, putting out a tweet, and I was like, "This gentleman needs to grind his gears." So I sent out the grinds my gears bat signal. and he's arrived. Chris, what's up? How you doing?
Yo, what's good? Can y'all hear me?
Yes, I hear you, man. How you doing? What you been playing, Chris?
What's good? Well, first of all, thanks for the invite.
Oh, no
what's
problem,
up,
man.
Grinders. You know what I mean? But yeah, there's a little bit of gears that need to be grinding. So, some of my rotors are.
I got a whole topic just for you, man. Just for you.
Hey, Chris. Chris, you talk about gears like I talk about lawbreakers.
No, he's not talking about gears. He's grinding his gears, man. He was
okay. I thought he was talking about Gears of War.
No, Chris is not playing no Gears of War.
Hey,
but anyway, let me introduce Chris. So Chris, as you know, is from the Saltiest Podcast and also from Planet Xbox. He's the new Planet Xbox, the new class. Frog and I were the old class. We're like the old Avengers. He's the new young Avengers. So we got Chris in there. He's from Planet Xbox and also from the Saltiest Podcast. And we had Salty on last week. And for Salty, if you're around, I see you in the chat. If you want to jump on for the Grindstable or any topics, you want to grind some gears, get on in. But anyway, Chris, so tell us what you've been playing. Have you tried the Neo? Have you tried Neo 2?
Oh yeah, look. Matter of fact, if you look at my what was that? The PlayStation 2020 year wrap up, right? My most played game of 2020 was Neo 2 at like 166 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's nice, man.
I love both of the Neos, Neo 1 and 2.
That first
you know
one
what I mean?
amazing.
Because I love that team, man. I love what that team has done before with like Ninja Gaiden, right? So I've always been in love with Ninja Gaiden, all the Ninja Gaidens and stuff like that. And then when they say that, hey, we're making a Neo that's gonna be a mix between Souls, Ninja Gaiden, Omnimusha, and stuff like that, I was like, fuck yeah, let's do it. And I played that shit and I was like, that shit is amazing. You know what I mean? And I'm a huge Souls fan, so but Neo does enough for me to distinguish itself from just a generic Souls clone or whatever, you know what I mean? Because to me, in my opinion, when it comes to the gameplay and the mechanics and the combat, I think Neo is definitely better than the Dark Souls games. But when it comes to world level design, right, and world and stuff like that, I think that's where Dark Souls has Neo beat. But as far as like Neo 1 and 2 and like this whole collection and stuff like that and remastered collection, honestly, I think they're just repackaging like a bundle of 1 and 2. It's for money.
A game of the year edition type crap.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's how I kind of felt about it.
Yeah, it's literally for money. They're throwing in, hey, you're getting this value. If you haven't tried Neo before, you get the first game and the second game.
It's like 50, right? For the new PlayStation 5 version, whatever. I think it's like 50.
It's 40, right? I think it's 40.
It's 40 for Neo 2.
I think one is 39 and one is 49.
Yeah, I think it's 40 for Neo 2 and 50 for the collection remastered on both of them. So it's like $10 more and you get all the DLCs too. I guess there's like 3 expansions for each one.
Yeah, that's a great value.
For $50.
Yeah, if you've never played it, that's a great value.
Yeah, but if you put 70 hours in it, it is a kind of pick and choose, just like you, Frogs, too.
I put close to 100 hours in the first game.
Like, and only getting one. Because I saw everybody going crazy about the free update.
But other than that, I mean, I've been playing this game called it's a strategy JRPG. It's called 13 Sentinels.
Yes,
it's more
talking about that.
Why is everybody talking about that? Okay, I gotta check that out.
Yeah, it's pretty good, man. It's like story wise, it's more of a graphic novel. Like it's more of an interactive graphic novel. So it's not like heavy gameplay type of game. The gameplay side of it is pretty much a strategy RPG where it's like you get like these 6 sentinels and then you like you can set up your little drone.
It's an Atlas game. That's why. Yeah,
it's an Atlas game and stuff like that. But I mean, it's pretty good. I bought it for like $30 off a recommendation, and I've been digging it so far. So, but yeah, and then I just bought East 9 last week, which is a brand new game that came out last week.
Oh my gosh. East is such a good series, man.
It's a really, really, really great action RPG series. It's one of the the E series been out since 1987. A lot of people, so it's a legacy series.
It's a legacy,
so legacy series that people don't know about. Well, a lot of people don't know about. It just started getting popular throughout the years through word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But yeah, that's definitely a really good game if you're into that. But other than that, and then Persona 5 Strikers come out in 2 weeks, so I'm excited about that. So to me, when people say, "Oh, there's nothing to play. All you guys are just playing old games," I'm like, what are you talking about? There's like
there's plenty of
there's like 5 new games that coming out this month. Like, what are y'all talking about? Like, but
that's the
what
thing,
it is, Chris?
It is
it's preference of what people want to play, and so people Yeah, that's what it is. Like I totally agree with you. I'm the same like you. There's so much stuff to play that's coming out. New stuff to play. So it's not like it's just like old stuff. There's a lot of new stuff coming out, and I guess there's just some things people are like, oh, I don't want to play this, so there's nothing for me to play. So I get when they say that, but you're right. There is so much stuff to play. I definitely have so much stuff to play that I'm not bored by any means.
Yeah, and no, it's interesting too. It's like when you hear like the Yeast, and I think Yeast is exclusive, right? Or Yeast is on PC and is it on all the consoles?
It's on I think Yeast. I don't know if it's on Xbox.
No, it's on. Okay, so it's timed exclusive right now. It's only on PS4 right now, but in June it's coming out to the Switch and PC. In June.
So there's no Xbox version at all. It's one of those like
no Xbox.
Only. It's an Atlas game. Atlas doesn't do any Xbox pretty much.
No. Yeast is
Sentinels. Sentinels are exclusive too, isn't it? That's
yeah. Sentinels is exclusive. Yeah.
So that's three of them.
That's exclusive.
And you know what's interesting is like and these are the games like you're saying like not enough to play. Everyone's playing old things. The thing is like. These are the games like when I don't like I'm not gonna play those games, but you can't deny that is new exclusive content only coming to certain platforms, and that is an option and variety that you get that one's not getting. And it's something that I realized that when I went over in 2016 and started exploring the PlayStation store, and I got a PlayStation, and I went into their store, that was one of the biggest things that struck me was. The games that people really don't talk about, but just seeing how many more games and variety of games were in the PlayStation Store that never even saw the light of day of Xbox Store. And that was one of the things that struck me where I was like, oh, let me, and actually one of them was Yakuza's. Like, I was like, what are these Yakuza games? Let me start playing them in 2016. And the interesting thing is like, I heard some people talking about it, but then there were so many other games, and I was like, Ni no Kuni. I was like, oh, Ni no Kuni 2, I got it. I played that. I would never even think about playing one of those games. And I really liked it. And the next game was another game that I played that was, it was Ni no Kuni was one of them, and then like, there was like, but those kind of games, like, I was trying to remember, there was another one that I tried, but like, it's a lot of games that people really don't talk about too much, but the thing is that they exist, and they are offered on a platform that, when people say that, like, where's Xbox getting these games from, the content, it's very interesting that there's a lot of things, just because they just got Yakuza's now, there are, like, for every Yakuza they're getting, there are, like, not even more Yakuzas, but there are just so many other games that they're not getting. Like, they finally got Dragon Quest. That was another one that came over there. And it's slowly but surely, but they're just so far behind. They finally got all the Final Fantasies, which we're still waiting for those, I guess, to show the Game Pass.
And then not only, and then not only that, it's like, okay, then, like, we were just talking about, like, Yeast, that's not coming to Xbox.
Yeah.
Persona 5 Strikers, that's not coming to Xbox.
Yeah.
There's another game from Square Enix coming out this year. It's called The World Ends With You, which is an action RPG.
Yeah, I know what that is.
Right?
Yeah.
That's only coming to the Switch and PS4. That's not coming to Xbox as well. So they're missing out on a lot of games.
They are missing out on a lot of games, and it's not just like it's like a hit or a tease or something. It's just an acknowledgement that there are a lot more games on other platforms than on the Xbox, and they got a lot of work to do. And some of these games, maybe they're just focusing on the Game Pass shopping list, but a lot of these games are not seeing the light of day on Xbox, and it's something to say
because they don't sell.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, they don't sell. Like, there's no reason why.
It's really
there's no reason why if Persona 5 Strikers is on PS4, PS5, and the Switch, and like those other games is the same situation: PS4, PC, and the Switch. It's like the reason why they're not putting on Xbox is because they know them shit's not gonna sell.
Yeah,
they're not gonna put that.
Unless they go to Game Pass, they're not gonna.
Well, yeah, and that's probably that's the crutch. At least that's probably why they're getting some of these games, because I don't think without Game Pass they would ever get a Yakuza, because I don't think it's worth it. But the thing, like, I don't think for them to selling wise, like, I don't think the developer will be like, let's put Yakuza on there, because I don't think it will sell worth. They'll make their money back for the cost of development to put it on there. But in Game Pass, Microsoft will cover some of the money, I guess, by doing that. But it's just something just to acknowledge, because people do. I saw the same thing with playing old games, and there's nothing to play right now. There's plenty to play, and and Neo is another exclusive game that's out. Yes, it's an older game, and I agree with Frogs. I'm gonna say I hate this time of a generation when developers are testing and publishers are testing what they could try to get away with. and be like, well, we're going to do this remaster, and we're going to do this, we're going to add just a little bit of 4K-ness to here, like what Control was doing, where, thank God we got that, and we'll talk about that in PlayStation Plus, but, like, that game being $40, like, just for, like, what it is, like, I don't think it's worth $40. I'm glad I got it included in my subscription, because I don't think anybody on Xbox should be paying $40 for that, especially since they gave you the base version. But I'm just glad that was there, in the PlayStation Plus thing, because I think what they did was shady as hell. And then also the other thing is that you can't bring your save over. That's another whole horseshit thing that I'm noticing a lot this gen, is bringing your saves over in some of these games. But, with that, we're going to get into the topics. But the first topic we're going to do is Destruction All-Stars. But right now, we're going to do the GrindsBoard. So, hold on to your seats, everybody. Hit that like button, hit that share button, and you know what? Hit that subscribe button. I want to see a new name. I forget. Shout out to I Forget, who's the latest subscriber. I got a new little sound bit for you guys. If somebody hits that subscribe button, I want to see if it works. But anyway, with that, we're going to go to the next segment of the GrindsBoard. Let's see what's happening. All right. There we go. I'm watching that thing on the delay. There we go. We're here at the GrindsBoard, and I have to pop it up, the GrindsBoard. And here's your list of... Where is it? Oh, here we go. The GrindsBoard is lost. No, it's not. It's found. Here it is. This is this week's list. So here we go. I'm going to run down the list, and then we'll go through the topics, everybody. That's how we do it over here in the GrindsBoard. So, guys, here it is. Destruction All-Stars. Reviews and impressions. Frogs, we talked about it. Chris, you probably talked about it later in the week, but we talked about it that night. We didn't know the reviews yet. The reviews trickled out last week, so we'll talk about that. Returnal delayed to April. I think it's April. I think I was right. And then
April.
Sony.
You're right.
Yep, Sony financials and counts. We're not going to get too much because we're not businessmen. We're in suits and ties. But it's interesting to see some of the counts that we've seen with the Sony financials. Horizon 4 to Steam. Sumo Digital's publishing it or developing it to bring it over to Steam. Halo 5 on other platforms. I saw this thing floating around over the weekend. We'll talk about it. But, man, the head of Xbox Cloud... Somebody needs to kick his ass because he did some stupid-ass quote, and I want to smack him. We'll talk about that one, too. PlayStation Now and PlayStation Plus value kind of alluded it to last week, but we'll talk about it now because we didn't know the PlayStation Now games, and they were pretty impressive that they came out last week for, and I just think that the two of them together, man, really good. Topic that we're going to talk about is the Control Series X and Series S. That whole thing with Digital Foundry, and then we will talk about Digital Fildry or Foundry, and them saying it's a glitch. And that will be one of probably the Grindstable topic that we're going to get into. And everybody could grind their gears on that one. What's going on with Digital Foundry? That is the question. There's some weird stuff going on. I don't know what's going on with them, but we'll talk about that. Yeah. That will be the big topic. But right now, Destruction All-Stars. Let me tell you first my Destruction All-Stars thing. So that last night, we downloaded it. Played Destruction All-Stars. I played it last night. Frog streamed it. Had tons of people watching the stream, man. Shout out to everybody there. A whole bunch of new subscribers, man. It was like 70, 80 people watching at 1 o'clock in the morning. Kept me up to 3. Frog screaming. We was screaming, man. It was fun jumping into that game for the first time, fun. Man. It was fun. Then the next day, I went back to play, and I'm like, okay. I didn't have Frogs on, but I was just playing like that. I was like, okay, it's okay. And when I noticed, one of the things that really irked me was the progression. And also the unlockables. And they cost a lot of money, and they're really just like plain unlockables. And then seeing the game modes and going through them, I just think that, the characters are great. I think that the characters, the design.
They're amazing.
Their abilities, huge. Like 12 characters, amazing. But the levels, they need some more levels, and also they need some more game modes. And then they brought challenges out later in the week. And
like the story mode,
yeah,
I think they had a little story mode. Yeah,
it was alright.
I have a problem with that. I'll talk about that when we get to it.
So I think the gameplay wise, I think that they have something there. Definitely, there's some latency when you go online and you're trying to hit everybody and crash and stuff like that. Where sometimes like you'll line somebody up and they'll just kind of not be there, or you not get that clean hit that you want. But Mog says the font is a little small. I know there was a lot of topics today. Sorry, Mog. I will try to make it a little bigger here, but I don't want to cover up the other items. But yeah, sorry about that. The font is. That's why I read it off. But anyway, hey, what's up, Ghostface? How you doing? But yeah, so I think gameplay wise, it's sound. It's a sound game. I think it has some cool elements. I like the whole calling in your special car. I like the whole the abilities, the hero abilities. Not too many team related abilities where you could kind of jump, work as a team. It's every person for itself, even the team modes. But the thing, you can like jump on your own teammate's car and they could drive you around and stuff like that, and you could also knock people off if they're trying to get jumped on you and stuff like that. But there's almost chaos going on. I don't think that one of the other problems I had was trying to find somebody to hit. I felt like there were big arenas, but like I was always just searching for that big smash, and it just wasn't as destructive as I thought. Like even playing what is that game? Wrecking Crew or Wreckfest? Like playing Wreckfest and just seeing those figure eights and things kind of force you to kind of smash into each other with the race in there. I think that would have been good, but I do think they need some better objectives, just kind of smashing and things like that. So, like, I saw the Metacritic scores. It's like a 65, a 64. It went up, it went down. But, yeah, I think it just suffers from the whole lack of content, lack of game modes. But I do think that there's something cool there. And I think whoever's at Sony that saw this game and said, we're not charging $70 for it, let's put this in PlayStation Plus as like a Fall Guys type thing or a Rocket League where it needs that online community, and let's just add stuff to it. I think that was a smart move because you can't buy this game for $70. It's not for sale. It's only in PlayStation Plus. It kind of reminds me of like when they were trying to do that thing with Drive Club, where they were doing the PlayStation Plus edition of Drive Club, where it was going to be like this kind of subscription, like add a few cars and then kind of do that service Drive Club game. I think this is kind of like what they want to do with it. But yeah, get Frogs. What are you going to say about it?
I think that the overall game, like the first impression, I was like, this is clean. It ran clean. It looked clean. I think that the more I played it, the things I didn't like about it was like I was trying to do little story modes, and I was like, the first story mode was free. The other ones you had to actually use real money to buy. I was like, what the hell? Mm. I was like, I'm not using real money to buy this. Can't I just unlock it? And you can't. Unfortunately. I think the character, you're right with the characters are great. The progression is kind of it's buns. What I'll say is there's two things that I think that can hinder this game is they didn't add enough game modes. I think there's only, if I'm not mistaken, there's 2 solo game modes and 2 multiplayer game modes.
Yeah, which
is not that great. The other thing was it's just. The way the vehicles, like when I impact somebody and hit somebody, I felt like I wanted to feel more of a bam or a crunch, or like really feel that impact, like really feel like I'm doing a lot of damage. And some of the arenas when you're doing 8-on-8, some of the arenas can be big. The other thing I found that was kind of annoying is like sometimes I'll be playing, I'm like, wait, what team am I on?
Yes,
like,
I kept asking that on our stream. Yeah. I know. I kept asking that on the stream. Like, what team? Am I blue team? Like, what team am I on? Chris, did you play it? I think Frogs again getting his attack dogs.
Well, no.
You don't have a PlayStation 5. You're still looking for one, right, man? But you did redeem it though, right? You could redeem it.
I'm just. Yeah. I'm just waiting for. I'm just waiting for things for. Like, I'm not into. Like, I'm gonna get one. Like. Soon, but like I'm not like no, I haven't played it, but I've seen the gameplay and yeah, I agree with you. The fact that somebody at Sony was like, no, we can't release this like this at $70.
I can see this being a $39.99 game. I couldn't see this being a full price
$70
$90 game.
Yeah, like me personally,
I would not see this being a full price game.
Yeah, me personally,
I don't think that if Sony had the balls to charge for this. Yeah, they would get smacked in the face. Nobody would buy this for $69. I can't imagine buying this for $69. I'd be so pissed off. I'd be pissed.
I wouldn't have. Plus, like what you guys are saying, there's a lack of content. I've also heard that there's stuff like there's like no private lobbies at launch, like stuff
Oh
that should
yeah,
be
there's
kind of
only
like
matchmaking.
Oh,
standard
right.
for always online game and stuff like that. The game looks fun. Like I'm definitely gonna try the game out. I don't have no judgments on it because I haven't played it yet, so I don't know if it's bad or good or whatever. But obviously the reception of it is really mixed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's in the
Yeah, it's
60s
mixed
or
reception,
whatever.
yeah.
But obviously, if you got a PlayStation 5, you can play it. If you have PS Plus, if you don't have a PlayStation Plus, you can still redeem it if you have PlayStation Plus. So by the time you do get a PlayStation 5, you can play it. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna play it. It looks cool. It looks fun.
It is clean.
It's
definitely
very
something
clean.
that I hope that these developers don't get discouraged for its reception at launch. I hope because they can stick with it, they can add on to it, they can do stuff like you know what I mean? They can get stuff like guest characters, right? Like they can get, they can have Kratos, you know what I mean, show up with his own car.
They said they had a
or
lot of
Nathan Drake.
content for it, but
Yeah,
who
or
knows?
Nathan Drake and that will get people to get in because it's like, oh, it's Destruction All Star. All of a sudden they say they get I don't know, Keanu Reeves.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean, with his own car and his own abilities or some shit like that. Like those are the type of updates and plus new maps, new modes, and stuff like that they can definitely add to like grow and expand the game and stuff like that. So we'll see how, if it's one of those situations where it's just like nobody plays it after a few months and it just it turns into pretty much. Is this going to be the Sony version of Bleeding Edge? You know what I mean? Or it could be the Sony version of Sea of Thieves, where it starts off real shit, but then it gets more content and it gets in a better state. So
yeah, it sounds like it's going, and I would make it more akin to the Sea of Thieves aspect because, like with Sea of Thieves, it suffered from lack of content and lack of variety, but it had some cool core gameplay. It was clean looking. Sea of Thieves was not an ugly looking game, the water effects and things like that, but it just was like, what do you do? And it just wasn't enough just sailing away with small amount of missions and just kind of fetch quests, and they've added so much to that over 3 years. Hopefully it doesn't take Sony as long, but I do think that if they added some game modes in here where they could I would say they need some weapons. They need like some weapon pack-ins, or that maybe the cars don't pick up, but maybe the people come out of the cars, maybe they could pick up a weapon and feel like you could do some damage and stuff like that. I know they want to kind of drive you in the car doing the damage really in the car, not necessarily as the people, because it seems like it's almost like Titanfall in aspect is like you're very limited as to what you can do. The
cars are Titan.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Like you can hijack them and stuff. Like I think that it was definitely a very interesting idea rather than just being like a destruction derby, but the fact that you could jump out and you're in these kind of arenas and things like that and there's some of the game modes, but I do think, like, I saw one, actually, if you play, I'm going to tell you this, Frog, if you try this offline and just play, like an exhibition match, which, by the way, it doesn't have split screen at all, but if you just do an exhibition match, it is like it is definitely a different type of game, because when you're playing it, you don't get that latency when you're hitting people and they kind of, like, teleport a little bit. You get that clean hit, and they even do that burnout type slow motion zoom in. And it's pretty awesome to see those. It's pretty cinematic.
And I think that's what I expected when I hit another car. You hit it right in the head. When that burnout, when you crash another car and you crush him, you hit him. Like I felt like I'm really damaging it.
Yeah,
I'll
show you.
I want that from this game. That feeling of euphoric of this. When you hit somebody, bam, you're like, whoa! I just crushed them. I don't feel like I feel like this game has see, yeah, there you go. I'm looking at the screen now.
I'm showing the offline stuff because I have it here. I have it at the end of my gameplay.
I feel like this game has potential, right? But I feel like there's some things that are still missing from this game. You got to have more modes. I feel like when you hop out your car, you said weapons. I do feel like it'd be a good idea when you're hopping out your car to say, okay, other than, because I can honestly tell you, very rarely was I able to jump on another person's car and take their car over.
Yes, it's latency. There's latency with it.
And I would always forget, and this is one thing I always forgot when I was not in the car, that I had powers outside the car. The only time I remembered having powers is when I was in the car. I was like, okay, my car has a power. Outside the car, I'm just running around trying to collect crystals, and I'm like, what else can I do other than collect crystals? So I think they have some good elements of the game. For what it's worth, I think it's okay. I think it's it's very clean looking. It graphically it freaking
It
looks
is
good
clean.
and it runs really well. But I will say I think this game will have a similar problem to maybe some of the other games that are out there. Like it comes out, excuse me, they don't add enough modes to it, and people just forget about it, and that could be a factor of like it just dying really quick.
And it's actually it's in PlayStation Plus for 3 months, so it's there until April, and so I'm assuming they're probably going to front load and make sure that they are putting their content within the next 3 months before it comes out of. Because I bet you after the 3 months or probably halfway through, I bet you then they'll probably put a price on this to buy it, and by that time it might be worth a $40 price tag. But if they come out $70 in 3 months, I don't think so.
There's a lot of attention to detail to this game. Like when you're picking the characters, each character has like their own music with a different, like it's the same music, but it has a different vibe.
Yes,
to it for each
it
character.
Changes the music, and there's no music in the gameplay.
It's pretty cool
too. People are saying,
and it's like there's some, it's just like this game is little things to it that makes this game like you're like, wow, they did a good job. But then there's like, okay, what happened to more game modes, and what happened to like the arenas looking like all the arenas kind of like they're similar-ish.
Yeah.
But and I'm like, okay, they're like, oh, this one is in London and this one is here, and I'm like, but I can't really tell the difference.
Other than
this.
Right.
No, go ahead.
No, I said I don't know if it was maybe time constraint because they was trying to get it out before launch. Why it's not? Either way, is no excuse to have like some features that should be in an online game day one missing from it, and lack of content, lack of maps and stuff like that. So due to this game getting like the mixed reception that it is, right, being in the 60s and stuff like that. Some people like it, some people don't like it, some people is like whatever. We've seen this being published by Sony, right? It's only multiplayer game, and then we see another game last year also was published by Sony. And it was only a multiplayer game, which was The Predator. So y'all think just Sony just has an issue with just like having that like eye for like an online game, you know what I mean? Like that they themselves publish, right? Not necessarily like deals like, because I don't know, sometimes it's a hit and miss, because sometimes Sony's will get deals with like say like Fall Guys or what was the other one, the soccer cars, Rocket League,
Rocket
right?
League.
Yeah, they got exclusive, timed exclusive or whatever.
Yeah, that was exclusive for a while
and shit like that. But then it seems like some of the other ones that they publish that they think is gonna hit, like the Predator, or they think is gonna, be somewhat like a Rocket League, which was Destruction All-Star. That's something that Sony definitely needs to definitely work on. This is why we need Naughty Dog to hurry up and come out with factions for The Last of Us 2. This is why we need, I think after Ratchet and Clank is out, right? We already know Insomniac, they're working on Spider-Man 2 and stuff like that, and we already know that they had another team that was working on Miles Morales. So maybe they have two teams working on different things with like Spider-Man and maybe another Spider-Man spinoff. But I think Insomniac, if there's any other studios that I would trust handling a multiplayer game, I think it will be them with like another Resistance. I think Insomniac, how talented they are now, I think if they take on Resistance again and take on that multiplayer, I think that will be a huge hit for Sony.
Oh, but, I know for a fact it'd be a huge hit, because a lot of these games, like you're saying, like, okay, this game, Lucid Dreams, Sony or Lucid, whatever
Lucid
studios,
Games or something like that is the developer.
Lucid Games, like, so. But
Sony, remember, Predator wasn't a subscription game. Predator was a $40 game.
It was a full game. But a lot of these games that Sony have, like you said, like the online only, the Cliff Bleszinski game, this game.
Yeah.
They're Sony doesn't own the studios. They're like, okay, we'll let you put it here. And what I think is happening is, and that's just my opinion, Sony's just taking a gamble to see if it just happens to be a hit or not. And with the Sony games like that, we know the studios that are making them. We know that for the most part, these games are going to be hits. I think probably one of the most I think is the divisive games that people were like really kind of like split between was maybe their Days Gone and what's the other one? The Kojima game. and they don't
Death Stranding.
own. Yeah, Death Stranding. Those are the two games that either you liked it or you didn't. Whereas a lot of these other games, people are like, yeah, you can say you liked it or you didn't, but people are generally looking for it. People were looking for Death Stranding. You know what I'm saying? People were looking for Days Gone. Nobody was really looking for, I would say, this game, Destruction All Stars, and it just came. It was in PlayStation Plus, and now we got it. It's kind of like, okay. It's kind of like Jess said last podcast. Okay, on to the next. Either it gets better.
Godfall's another one.
Godfall's another one.
Godfall's
that was
another
one
game
that was.
And that was $70.
That was $70.
And I don't think. Oh, that definitely wasn't worth $70.
No.
But what I'll say is, like, I do think Sony, from their first party studios, that it would be nice to see them have somebody come out there and, like you said, I think Insomniac could come back and do a Resistance now and they could kill it. I think that there's some games they could bring back to the fold and they could really do a good job. They could really, a Resistance game right now, they could come back and they could really make a killing. I even a SOCOM. I know a lot of people want SOCOMs. I think if they had the right team to do a SOCOM.
SOCOM would be a good time right now.
The right team could do a SOCOM.
Okay, this is what we do know. My bad. I don't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
We do know that Guerrilla Games, right? Other than Horizon Zero Dawn, they have
working
another
on something
team
else.
Working. And they're talking about it's a multiplayer game because they got one of the lead designers of Rainbow Six Siege, right?
Yeah.
To join that.
I'm hoping it is SOCOMs.
So it may be SOCOM. It could be something totally different or whatever. It could be an online only kills. Who knows? But I think that there is something cooking in the back. We know that The Last of Us 2 Factions is in the works as well. So so we do know that Sony is trying to do better when it comes to multiplayer and stuff like that. It's just some of the results as of lately hasn't really been working out for them as much. But hopefully, like whatever the second team at Guerrilla Games is working on comes out, and that shit's amazing. And
the second team at Guerrilla Games is probably.
The last thing I'm going to say with Destruction All Stars is the fact that I think this is like one of the first Sony published games that they put directly into their PlayStation Plus service. Like Fall Guys, they didn't. That wasn't there.
Yeah,
like
you're right.
The fact that they put this in a service, like maybe.
Well, Predator. No.
Predator wasn't in PlayStation Plus.
Predator,
you had to buy. That was just like a second party deal, whatever.
It should have been in Plus.
It should have been in Plus. That would have been good for it. Because their DLC for like Dutch and stuff was ridiculous. Like it was like $10 for an Arnold skin in a first person shooter. I'm like, what?
Hit that soundboard.
Get that soundboard. Where's my soundboard here? Where's my soundboard?
Relax.
See, somebody said go. See, and that's I think that you get multiplayer was, and you know what? And that's what let me say that.
Stop it.
When they don't announce things like when Ghost of Tsushima came out, they talked about the game, but they never announced the multiplayer. And when they announced the multiplayer and it just came out, oh, there goes my.
You hear me, right? Con men, thieves, degenerates, lowlifes, thugs, criminals.
I think that it shocked people how good it was and how well it played. And I think that sometimes that's the best way to do it. Don't announce the multiplayer. Don't say anything about it, and just let it be that surprise. And because I think a lot of times when games are like, oh, this is coming out, and there's a multiplayer element to it. Just do a game. Let it come out, and then if there's a multiplayer element to it, let it be what it is. Think about if they had talked about Dragon Age Inquisition, which I love it, but they focus on talking about the multiplayer portion of it, which is not the best part of it. It's a single player. The multiplayer portion of that game is not that great. But the fact that they even tried it, like I'll always say, like I don't think every game needs a multiplayer.
Yeah.
But when you can pull it off, like a Ghost of Tsushima, they did a really good job. Like
that was an amazing way to launch a multiplayer too.
Yeah, and I think they got a hit on their hand, not only with the single player but with the multiplayer. It was like, this is something that's different because the people who played the single player, playing that multiplayer was like, this is a whole different thing, and it required you to really put some thought and time into it. So I would say Sony as a whole, like.
They're going to dab in everything, Frog. You know that. They're going to dab in services. They're going to dab in multiplayer.
It would be nice for them to get their multiplayer footing with their first-party studios, but it does. I think Sony does well at their storytelling, the kind of the Uncharted and the Last of Us, and those type of games. They do well with that. The Ghost of Tsushima's.
Yeah,
so
I'm saying, like when it comes to that single player games, like Sony doesn't.
Yeah, they perfected that.
They perfected that. They're masters. They're ahead of everybody in the industries when it comes to that. The weaker side of Sony is the multiplayer side that they kind of need to work on a little bit more. You know what I mean?
But do they really need it?
I'm gonna see what Lucid. I'm gonna see what Lucid.
They don't need it, but I would like them to.
Do you guys know what Lucid Sound made before this? Lucid
no,
Games.
I do not know.
I'm gonna look that up quick.
I don't know. I don't know anything they made.
Lucid Games.
Yeah, I really agree with you. Like, I'm like, I don't think Sony needs it, but if they have it, it'd be nice.
Because look at the PS3.
Nice.
Holy crap!
We had.
Do you know who their predecessor was?
Who was that?
Bizarre Creations. They made that. Remember the game? Remember what the hell was that game? Fuse, not Fuse, or what the hell was it? I'll find it.
I know what you're talking about. It was like a Call of Duty kind of car game where you got power ups and all that. That was a cool game.
They did Geometry Wars. They did.
Geometry Wars.
Switchblade on PlayStation 4, Lucid Games. They published that one. Need for Speed Payback they did with EA.
So they have some experience with racing car games.
Yeah, and they did. They made Goat Simulator. They made, but their predecessor was Bizarre Creations. So most of Lucid Games' 10 founders were previously employed at Bizarre Creations, which was shut down by Activision.
Man.
And Bizarre Creations, I'll tell you exactly what they made. Blur. That's what it was. Blur.
That was that
racing battle game.
Oh, I remember that game.
Yes.
That game came out way before
on the 360.
Time. Yes, way before its time.
Yes. So
see, it was the 360 and not. Blur was a good game.
It was like a car combat racing game, but like you would pick up these power ups and stuff like that as you're racing and stuff like that.
It was like a mixture of like a Call of Duty kind of like Ridge Racer type game.
Yep.
Because you could pick the power ups up, and then your car leveled up like kind of like a Call of Duty where you could get like different. It was pretty interesting. I would say like it was before its time.
That's what they. That was like the last game Bizarre Creations made before Activision shut them down. So with that, we'll go to the next topic. Wait a second, let me get to the next topic. But it's interesting to find out the legacies of some of these developers and stuff like that. But like they were previously with them. So the next thing is that Returnal got delayed. Now it was supposed to come out in March. Did it get delayed to May or to April? Maybe I made a mistake.
April. The end of April.
So I thought it was a month. So it went from
March to April, January, February, March, April.
Yeah,
it was supposed to come out March 19th, and then it got delayed to like.
It didn't go to May. Okay, yeah, it was just April. So it was end of April, right? Or the 7th, 14th was the new date?
Yeah, it was like April 30th. So pretty much the beginning of May.
Pretty much around there. So, but that's speaking about somebody at Sony said Destruction All Stars. Yeah, no $70. Let's put that in PlayStation Plus exclusive game. Nowhere to buy it right now. But did somebody look at Returnal and go, it's still $70? Did they say we need to add some stuff to it, or do you think that this is? I think this is for some polish, spit and shine. I think for that frame rate, maybe to make sure that thing is there.
I think that game is going to be polished. I think this is their first big game.
It is.
So I think that is it taking a chance? Yes. I think Sony's taking a chance on just that $69 price, but I think this game may have legs and it may really score well. I can see this game just by looking at this game. I can see this game being hard, but I can also see this game scoring like Metacritic, being an 83 Metacritic. Like it's going to be pretty well received, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think the game is going to have lots of replay value because it's like
exactly
it's a roguelike, right? So it's like procedurally generated and stuff. So it's like it's going to be one of those games where it's like you're gonna be spending like a lot of hours and still discovering like new things in the game that you're gonna be always discovering something new. So
the other thing about this game, I think, is I don't think that they show everything we've seen. I think there's so much more we don't know about it. Because when I look at it, it's like it's roguelike, but I get like these Metroid kind of like feelings from it. Like, so I think this game is just maybe it could be the start of like something new. I'm very interested in the game. in what it is, and I think maybe they can tell a story in a way that has really fun gameplay that's hard, and people just like hopefully it's not as divided as some of the other games that come out. But I'm interested, and this looks like a game that I want to play.
Yeah, no, me too.
I'm very interested.
It reminds me a little bit of Vanquish as well, from like Batman games. But somebody said procedurally generated games always worries them. Like me too. But Hades came out last year, and that was one of the best games ever. And that's a procedurally generated game, right? That's a roguelike type of game and stuff like that, and everybody loved it. So if it's done well, if it's done correctly, it can definitely work out and be absolutely amazing and stuff like that. And I believe Housemarque, they're very talented and stuff like that. Like I played a couple of their games before, like Alienation and a few other ones that they did and stuff like that, and I enjoyed those games. So this is gonna be like, to me, this is gonna be one of the first premier AAA like roguelike games that probably gonna surprise us of how crazy in depth and this game is gonna be and stuff like that. Or it could be trash. We don't know yet.
Yeah,
it's UIP, but
hopefully they put out I think that game will benefit from a demo. I think if they could try to throw out some sort of demo before they release that game, I think that would help out, because I still am a little, and just like what Mog said, procedurally generated games, like I in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds great on paper, but like if I'm going to see assets reused and stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, well now that block is over there now, and it's upside down and inversed or something like that now, it's like, okay, well, they're just flipping stuff around and randomizing it. But I hope that I think the game sounds like it has a really intense story, and maybe that is something that we're missing on there, because like we're talking more about the gameplay. I think the gameplay is going to be solid. I think the gameplay is going to be spot on. It's just because they make incredible clean shooters, like those twin stick shooters, or just combat with voxels and just crazy things that go on in the screen that you're just like, holy crap, the screen blows up and you're just like, you're there and everything just dissolved and stuff like that, like Thanos snap finger type stuff. And I do think that they have the capability of doing that. I think the gameplay is going to be incredible. It's really just the stuff around it, if it's going to extend the life of that thing. And for $70, I am not diving face first. I am still proceeding with caution on seeing what this game is.
Yeah, I will wait to see how it's received, and
how much content is in there and what it is. If it's something that I'm going to be coming back to a lot, or something that's really going to hook me and things like that. If it kind of gets too repetitive, then I'm like, maybe I'll wait for sale on that one. But it'll be interesting to see. But again, it's great to be talking new games like with Destruction All-Stars. Everything's not going to be bangers upon bangers, but that's the reason why. That's why when Ghost of Tsushima hit and Miles Morales, which sold about 4 point something million, we'll get into those financials. I saw it sold a ton. Demon's Souls. That's why when those games come out and they come out and they hit well, they are cherished. Like people like reflect on those type of games, because not every game is going to be that. And the fact that Sony's taking chances and and I think they have a better eye for what the gamers want and trying to do stuff. Some stuff will fail, some stuff won't. Where we always find that I think Microsoft needs that kind of oversight and management in their kind of games that they do, because I do think that they use kind of the service as a crutch right now. And we could say that they did the same thing with Destruction All-Stars, but the thing is that they didn't do a Sea of Thieves, and this is where I will say, the whole thing with the Sea of Thieves comparison is that Sea of Thieves was on sale for $60 and in Game Pass for that lack of content. Destruction All-Stars is not. It's only in PlayStation Plus in that included subscription. So it's not a $70 game that's being pushed into a subscription. This game is only in the subscription. Sea of Thieves wasn't that, and none of Microsoft's games were that. You either buy them or you could get them in a subscription, which kind of makes you look like you want to subscribe to these games because I'm not paying for that amount of money. And I don't think that's the greatest approach. Like, I understand its options, but I don't think that that's the best approach to do that, because you're kind of funneling people to the subscription because you're way overpricing that stuff. Like, I think Hivebusters was another example of something that was really good, but was it worth $20 for 3 hours? I don't think so, but a lot of people got it free in the subscription. So I think that's why when you look at these games, $70 Returnal, we will see if that game, could hold that price tag. But again, I said this before, in these early generations, they're going to try to push stuff, to see what they get away with. And I think prices will adjust themselves accordingly to what people are buying and what people are doing. But I do think Returnal is going to be something that, maybe they delayed it because of some of that $70 stuff that was going around. I don't know. And they said, we need to add some more items. I don't know. Things along those lines. But speaking of sales, who's this? VC has a question. Jez, do you think $70 price up front is better than being $40 game with $20 DLC every 6 months? That is a good question. It depends, man. Like, I think it depends and I think Frogs are saying this too. Like, I think it depends on how they propose it. Like, how that Ghost of Tsushima was. Like, they really didn't talk about multiplayer. We had no clue about multiplayer at all. And it was a $60 game that you pay, and that was enough for $60, and that multiplayer was an add-on. If they said, hey, we're just going to ship the single player, and that multiplayer that hyped up is not coming for another month or so, I think there would have been some sort of like, the full game is $60, but, we're only getting half of it now with this. But again, I do think that the game would have justified for itself, but I do think it's how it's marketed. If it's a $40 game up front and it seems to be great and it's hit for what it is, and then they add some content to it, that I think would be a good approach. However, if it's $70 and has all that great stuff up front, then I think that's approach. It really depends on how they market it. If it looks like they're holding back content and things like that to justify DLC, so like instead of...
Is he talking about a single player game or...
I don't know. You just said a question. It was like...
Because when it comes to multiplayer, like now everybody expects in like the new model, everybody expects to get free updates, free maps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's season passes have gone away.
Yeah.
You're right, Frog.
And stuff like that. Yeah.
Once Call of Duty dropped their season pass, everybody in the market was like, we're going away from season pass, and everybody's doing battle pass because they realize, hey, we may not everybody's going to buy the season pass, but we can keep.
Yeah, I know. his dog's on attack.
And not that is because a lot of times they used to like separate or segregate the user base, right? By having DLC.
Oh, Halo was a big victim of that. Remember, it would be blinking on your name.
Yeah, I remember Battlefield when I got when I rebought Battlefield 4 2-3 years later, and I got all I bought like everything for like $5. It came with like everything, right? All the expansions and stuff like that came afterwards and stuff like that. But it's like, I try to go into like the DLC maps, and nobody was on them shit. Everybody was just on the base maps.
It breaks
up.
What
I mean?
Yes.
So everything like when it comes to like multiplayer games, like Battlefield or stuff like that, like everybody expect now the maps to come afterwards to be completely free for everybody, and they just push up the
battle passes
and shit like that.
Yeah, so like for the people that buy those battle passes, they're basically paying for the maps of us that don't want to buy a battle pass or something along those lines. So the maps stay fresh, but the people who are really invested, the whales per se, who are throwing tons of money in battle pass and stuff like that, are the ones that are kind of front loading and probably making more money. I recall, man, Halo and Call of Duty, like everybody would buy like the first pack, but then like the second map pack would come out, and less people would be buying it. And then I remember when like my friends would buy it, and then we would like launch, and then it'll be like, one of the people in your party doesn't have the map pack too, and it's like, who is it? Like, who is it? And it's like, it's me. I'm sorry, guy. Like, are you buying it or not? And it's like, no, I'm not gonna buy it because we're gonna play just tonight. And it's like you feel guilty, or it's like, I'm buying it, and then you play that one night. But yeah, it was really. I do think.
And then if your friends don't buy it, then you're playing it by yourself.
Exactly.
Or your friends not playing it with you and stuff like that. That's why I like that whole like DLC map packs have like completely gone away and for the better, right?
Yeah, I agree.
I think the battle pass is a better ideal because then it lets you kind of like. Say if you're really into the game, your friends aren't playing, you can earn stuff that they aren't, but everybody can always play on the same maps.
Yep.
And they can eventually get the weapons you have. They just got to work harder to get it. And instead of the battle pass, you may have said, well, I played till I got to level 100 and I got it, but now you got to do this. You got to get a certain amount of headshots, certain amount of freaking tea bags, and a certain, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Just to get the weapon I got. So it makes it a little bit more interesting. And I don't think, because even Rogue Company, which is a game I love, they just introduced the Battle Pass. And I think it's kind of smart because the Battle Pass to me is kind of like Call of Duty, I think, does it the best still. You buy it one time, and as long as you're continuously playing that game, you never have to buy it again.
I'm going to tell you who's doing it good. I'm going to tell you who's doing it good. I hate to say it, but Fortnite. So they added, So not only did they add a Battle Pass, but they added like an all access pass for $11
they're
a
super
month.
smart with that.
Hear this. So for $11 a month, they give you an exclusive skin that you can only get in this club. And then they give you 1,000 V-Bucks every month, which is basically paying for itself because 1,000 V-Bucks is around $10. So you're basically getting it back in V-Bucks to use it in the store, plus you're getting an exclusive skin, and you get the Battle Pass, which is by itself is like $7, $8 for the month, as long as you keep staying subscribed. So, like, they're giving you the Battle Pass, plus they're giving you an exclusive skin, and they give you $1,000 to use in their store. So, 1,000 V-Bucks. So it's like a subscription to the Battle Pass to the subscription.
So is it basically, and I don't know, everybody watch Super Bowl. I don't know if you noticed it. Subscriptions have become the thing.
Oh, the Paramount. Oh, the CBS All Access change. Oh,
and what I'll say is like subscription works. It works in certain elements, right? For gaming, a subscription model works for like a Battlefield or a Call of Duty or a Fortnite. But subscriptions don't really work. Like I know I go back to the whole Game Pass thing because people are like, oh, see, everybody's going to be subscriptions. The reason it doesn't really work for like a Game Pass model is because, once again, you got to have the biggest problem with Game Pass is, and Microsoft is, they don't have the sufficient content put in there. At any time, if Sony wants to do a Game Pass model, Game Pass will die. Because everybody will do what play on PlayStation, Nintendo.
They have the content, man.
If there was a Game Pass model, they have the content.
Yeah.
And that's why, look, let me tell you this. People who are in Game Pass, who are said so good, you know, if they want Sony to do this, great. Then you know what? Once Sony does it, just go buy a PlayStation and subscribe to their service, because there's no reason at that point to own an Xbox. Why do I say that? It's because you don't have the content to put in Game Pass. Once again, Game Pass is for the most part, like most of the games that are in there are freaking old ass 360 games that you already played. Some bum ass EA games that are from 17, 18, 19 years, those year models. And then like the other games that you do get in there are like games that are previewed that aren't freaking done yet. And you're like, how is this game, a preview game, you're still charging me for it? Look, I'm going to tell you like this. At any point that PlayStation and Nintendo do a Game Pass type model, just know that Xbox's Game Pass is dead.
Oh, man.
Like, because
I got a special clip for Game Pass here.
They can't compete.
Yeah, and we're going to get right to the Sony money right here. But, I found a new clip that when we talk about Game Pass until we get those games, I got it right here. It's from Nacho Libre. I hope everybody likes it. Here it comes.
This is the worst lunch I ever had.
Your only job is to cook.
Make games.
Do you not realize I have had diarrhea since Easter's?
Okay. Maybe I am not meant for these duties. Cooking duty. Dead guy duty. Maybe it's time for me to get a better duty.
Anyway, but man, oh man, I just had to say. So wait, let's get into the financials here. So PlayStation quarter results. So we got PlayStation 5 shipped 4.5 million units worldwide as of December 31st, as of New Year's Eve. 4.5 million units. 47.4 million.
Wait. Could you say it one more time? 4 point what million?
4.5 million units worldwide.
I could have sworn somebody on another podcast said they only sold 4 million to date. I could have swore they were closer to 5 million. Okay, yeah.
Well, and then I think Ryan asked Z Huge, and Z Huge was talking about like Xbox. It was like 1 million after that, but that was like he was asking in February. So this is as of December. So like we got to figure out whatever they sold in in January if they're selling that much. Like the 4.5 million in 2 months. That's pretty crazy, but that is global. So, that's a big start. And actually Benji Sales, I follow him. He does a lot of the sales and stuff like that. And he said that, it's the same exact number, essentially the same exact number that they did during the launch of the PlayStation 4. So, that's how they
I guess the only
do
difference is they just don't have enough, to put out there. Cause I predicted by March they would have sold 10 million. And,
I know they up their thing, so we'll see.
Some people on other podcasts, they said that there's no way they can send 10 million, and I figured just looking at their sales numbers. But now when I look at the fact that they can't produce the semiconductors, I think that'd be the only thing holding them back.
The stock,
that's exactly what it is. Because if it wasn't for that, then
they would have said 10 million easy.
Yeah, they would have been past the
PS4. The demand is there.
Sony says they're predicting to sell 8-point-something million by March now. It's not going to, because I predicted 10 million and they said 8-point-something million. So I was like, I was kind of close. Whereas, I think right now the big thing is, and I hate to be that guy that goes back to Xbox. The big thing is, developers already saying it. Like, we really wish that S didn't exist. We wished it. Microsoft would have took the approach and just made an S and an X and a diskless X, and I agree. Yes. And a lot of developers they don't want the X, they don't want the S to exist because they feel like that console is going to particularly hold back certain things they can do on not just the Xbox Series X, but even on the PS5 side. And I kind of agree, man. I don't see the point of the Series S. I think it's the stupidest console.
We will talk about the S.
We'll talk about that later.
So wait, the next thing is that 47.4 million PlayStation Plus subscribers. These are not what Microsoft reported before, where they just said active users or concurrent users.
These are subscribers.
These are subscribers. These are paying subscribers. Whether they paid 40 or whether they paid 60, these are paying subscribers. These are not just people that went through and turned their head left and said, "Oh, I'll sign up for Xbox because I need an account for my Minecraft or something like that," and Microsoft counts them for their account. Microsoft has been doing a lot of combining stuff, and even thing with the 18 million Game Pass subscribers, we know that a lot of those people. They did that dollar deal or they did the stack deal. There's very few dollar deals for a PlayStation Plus subscription, but the 18 million, it's great in its own end. Again, it's for over 3 years. PlayStation Plus has been around a lot longer, but the thing is that 18 million subscribers in a subscription service, but the numbers just don't. They're bundling a lot of that stuff together. And, I do think that by coming out and saying 47.4 million PlayStation Plus subscribers, that's how many subscribers. That's not active users. That's not people that just log into PlayStation on their phone to just check out the stores. These are paying PlayStation Plus subscribers, which is pretty impressive that they're doing that. And I just think that they've probably seen a huge growth in that because the quality of games they've been putting in PlayStation Plus, it's been more about the games that they're putting in there than necessarily just requiring it for online. Because remember, Microsoft now, they talk about active users. They're going to do a huge pivot after decades of charging people to play free-to-play games with an Xbox Live subscription. All those Fortnite people, all those Fortnites, those people don't need Xbox Live anymore on their Xboxes. Yep. Is that going to be a huge blow to Microsoft, or they're going to have to come up with some sort? Because remember, it's not instant. They said in the next coming months, so they're probably thinking some sort of way.
They need to figure out a way to put better games in Xbox Gold.
We're going to have to pivot.
Their game quality is trash. The stuff they put in there is really bad.
The thing is they're going to have to pivot because they're going to lose. They're going to lose people that they're going.
The reason you know what? I don't mean to cut you off, Jess. The reason why I think they don't put as good quality stuff in there? Because they're like, well, we got Game Pass and it's a better service anyway. We put all our first parties, so we don't need to give you amazing quality stuff in there. They don't need to really push as hard to get the good third party games and the game, Xbox games with gold. And I kind of feel like they're on a verge of doing what I said that Microsoft's game studio is going to be. It's going to be just that, a game studio.
Yeah.
You know, and I know
Let
we'll
me
talk
talk
about
to
Halo
Froggy
later,
says
but-
here, and this is the point. I really didn't want to make this point, but I will make it because Froggy brought it up. He says it's growing. Obviously, Game Pass is growing, but Froggy, he says 15 million to 18 million. Froggy, I've been saying this. I don't know how many times I've said this before on the things. If you look at 3 months, yes, you say they grew from 15 million to 18 million Game Pass subscribers. That's not active paying Game Pass subscribers. They just said 18 subscribers, so we don't know how. They just said 18 million, right? They didn't say concurrently, like right now there's 18 million. Who knows? They've been saying that 5 million people played Sea of Thieves. I don't think there's 5 million in Sea of Thieves today. I think over the course of 3 years, 5 million people have played Sea of Thieves. They're cumulative. We're never going to see that number go down. 18. You're never going to say, oh, yeah, well, we dropped to 15 million subscribers now. It's always going to be cumulative, all right? But you say that they grow. Of course they grew. 15 million to 18 million. Let's talk about it. So, in that 3-month period, they put xCloud launched officially in Game Pass. Added value to Game Pass. Now, xCloud is now part of Game Pass and is on every Android phone Samsung Android phone in the world. It works on Android phones. It is on billions of devices right now. Game Pass on Android, it's in the Android Play Store right now. Game Pass and xCloud is there. Think about that install base they added. They added EA Play to Game Pass. More value to Game Pass. Then they sold a console at $300. And people saying maybe 3-4 million. They sold a console, had a console launch for 3 new generation in the 3 months, and they only went up 3 million. Probably they were not happy with that growth. Like, yes, it's growing, and to us, we see the numbers go up, and we're like, yay! Wait, I got it right here. Here we go. Xbox, chant.
Are those like concurrent subscribers?
I don't know, but people just see 15 million to 18 million, and they go, it's growing, we're doing great. But then if they did so great, then why would they do the doubling of Xbox Live? Why would they do that fiasco if they wanted to artificially funnel people into Game Pass, if it was growing at a rate that they were pleased with? It's not. That's why they blew their roost on that Friday afternoon and said Xbox Live will be double because we want to force people into Game Pass being the better value because they want that subscription to increase at a faster rate. Mixer was doing great. Here's his Ninja. He brought some people over. His Shroud. 6 months later, they shut it all down. And why? Phil Spencer. I put it on here so many times. Phil Spencer said it wasn't growing at the rate that we needed it to grow to be where it needed to be. So you might see growth and go, 3 million, we're good. Success. But you don't know what their rate is. Yeah,
I would honestly say that I kind of look at, I was surprised that I didn't see like an Xbox commercial at the Super Bowl with, Game Pass talking about coming this fall, Game Pass on your PS5 and your Switch or whatever. Because I kind of feel like that's where they're going. Where Game Pass is becoming the Paramount, the Disney Plus, the freaking Hulu. It's becoming that all-in-one service that they just don't want to create a box anymore. They can just put that app on the PS5, that app on a Switch, and then, when they say, oh, we got a new Halo game coming out, well, PlayStation people can play with people who are in the Game Pass app. And I think that's where they're going. I think in
a few years it's going.
They obviously can't compete with just releasing software and having big software sales anymore. I think that their thing is like, okay, we can't compete on this front in the living room because PlayStation's taking the living room, and then, well, we can get PC people some of our stuff, but guess what? Maybe we could just find a way just to create this, because you remember when they changed it from, what was it, Xbox, what was it? It was something like each one of their game studios, and they went to Xbox. Was it Xbox Game Studios? It went under a new moniker of Xbox Game
Buddy
Studios.
Cactus says he got his Game Pass with barbecue Pringles.
Yeah,
that's 18 million plus 18 million and one.
and that's where I think they're going. When I saw Paramount do their whole commercial,
oh my god, you see
Paramount
that?
Streaming,
They're having that thing. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's what Game Pass wants to be. It wants to be that service that you can just, even if the PlayStation's selling well, you can just go buy your Xbox Game
They added
Pass
so much
on your
stuff
PlayStation
in that 3 months that they added a lot of stuff in those 3 months. And the thing, and speaking about two things, well, right into what you're saying, like into that stuff. Horizon 4 is going to Steam, so they're putting their game now on Steam. This is the first Forza game I think that's going to be on Steam,
wow.
And it's being developed or published by Sumo Digital, who made Crackdown 3 and
Little Big Planet
Adventures, Sackboy Adventures, and that's going to be on Steam. It's coming next month. And then, did you look at this Halo 5 on other platform type thing? What do you think about that? You and Chris, what do you guys think about that?
Oh, I got something to say about it. You can go, Chris, because I got something to say about that. Okay, I'll go first.
Frog, you say.
So what I think when they say other platforms, I definitely think that maybe Steam and maybe Epic, the Epic Store.
It's already on Steam.
Surprised.
I have it from Steam.
Right.
Master Chief
Okay,
no,
Store.
I'm sorry. I put Halo 5. It's Master Chief Collection. My dumbass.
The Master Chief
it's
Collection.
a Master Chief Collection. I didn't put Halo 5. I put Halo 5, guys.
So
sorry
Master
about that.
Collection,
The GrindsBoard is incorrect. God damn GrindsBoard.
So Epic Store, but
I hope this is not true.
I think the blow to people would be, and I doubt this is going to happen. This is like the serious doubt. Because a lot of people are.
But it's already on Steam. Master Chief Collection is already on Steam.
Yeah, but the Epic Store. So a lot of people are talking about how MLB and Sony's they're putting other games on Xbox, and I said, when I saw this whole Master Chief Collection, I said, what if Master Chief Collection was just happened to come to PlayStation? And I said, it's not going to happen. This is just a fanboy talk, right? Because the fanboys are talking about,
it's not going to PlayStation.
Well, that's not happening. But could you imagine the internet would shut the hell down? You know what? Let me tell you something. If that happened, if that got announced, the internet would crash. I'm telling you. Look, at that point, at any point that Microsoft puts any of their first party titles, that they own on, like their Halos, their Gears, their Forza on another home console, you might as well just call it done.
Yeah, I don't think so. Like
the MLB situation, we understand why that happened, right?
Yeah.
People because I keep seeing people say, "Oh, Sony's publishing games on Xbox. It's just a matter of time before God of War comes to Xbox and this comes." I said, "No, that's a whole different thing. If Halo were to ever come to another home console, this straight out, this here you go, man, that would shut the internet down."
Yeah, but
and right now, I'm pretty sure, and I'm pretty sure. The Master Chief Collection could run on the Switch. I'm pretty sure it could.
See, the thing is
as old as that thing is.
They said in their friggin' update, they're like, new ways to play and on other platforms. Some people said it was a Tesla. Some people said it was going to be Oculus, VR. Maybe, they're ready to play Halo at Dave & Buster's. But,
Look, would you play, if Master Chief Collection came to PlayStation 5, would I play it?
Hell yeah. I put it on.
I'm not gonna tell
I play it on my computer.
Let me tell you this: if they announced it, they said coming to Switch and PS5, I'll buy it for both.
Well, Frog, that's
the reason I buy it for both.
Okay.
Is because I know it's a good product.
Oh, of
but
course.
It's just the fact it's the fact that I think that this is the way that game division of Microsoft is going. They really don't care. The fanboys are the ones.
Well, that takes me to the quote of the day. Frog, quote of the day. Where's this clown? Where is he? Oh my God, I had it. Did I save it on the thing? I gotta go to it.
Yeah, they don't care if their game's really on other platforms. They don't care.
Guy, you got it. The head of the cloud. Where is he? Head of cloud.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, did I put it in our mentions here? Let me see. Oh, here it is. I don't know what happened to Chris. I think he got kicked off. He said he can't join. Let me see. Oh, he's in. I don't know what happened. He has to hang up and come back. Oh, my goodness. Here it is. Holy crumbuns. Holy crumbuns. So this is the head of Xbox Cloud. Oh, my God. After we were talking about all those games, right? The PlayStation games and stuff. This is the stuff that grinds my gears. All right? Because when Halo was saying it might be other platforms, immediately all the people that was saying the thing about baseball, saying about when Horizon went to PC, they're like, more people to play our games. More people to play our games. Oh, why are you upset? PlayStation is going to do exactly what Xbox is doing. But as soon as they said our precious Halo is going to be going to other platforms, people are like, this will be horrible if this went to the PlayStation. There's no way. This will be disgraceful.
Why would it, though?
The same, I don't know. Because you want to know why,
would it even be horrible? It wouldn't even matter.
But the thing is that then when Dopey Ass says something like this, and we talk about it, oh, negativity, toxic. Well, here's Dopey Ass. This is what the Clown of Cloud says. The Clown of Cloud says this. So would you say, here's the question, right? This is Xbox messaging in a goddamn nutshell. So would you say that console exclusive?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, I hear you. Yeah.
I was talking the whole time.
Oh my God, I didn't hear you at all, man. Phil Ness got you. He does this. So here, don't do this to him, Phil. Here, Ghostface, right? So this is what the guy says. The question. So would you say that console exclusives are not the answer to moving platforms forward? Now, before I get to his answer, just see the success that we just saw Sony had. Nintendo announced their financials. They sold about 70 million consoles. Their platforms, their consoles, their services. We just talked about it for the last hour and a half. Exclusivity. We're talking about exclusives. People said Halo might go to other platforms. People had a conniption. But then Microsoft said, Phil says this a bunch of times, but here we go. The head of Cloud. Cloud is up his ass. Here's his answer. The average game developer doesn't want exclusivity. The average game developer wants to be on every device that players are on. They want a mobile version, a console version. Console makers sometimes want exclusivity because they want their console to be special or better or whatever. But no, we don't think it's the answer. We've been pretty open about trying to support cross-platform experiences.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think I highly doubt that Master Chief Collection is coming to PlayStation.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, Chris was sorry.
I think
that thing.
Yeah, no,
I think we have a better chance of Gears coming to PlayStation than Halo.
No, I think it's gonna be, it goes to Epic Games. I've seen somewhere that somebody said that Microsoft has said before. I don't know if they ever said this, but somewhere they said before that they could bring Halo Master Chief Collection to Mac, right? So like a MacBook and stuff like that.
And Steam and Mac, yeah.
Yeah. Somebody said, well, maybe it's gonna be for xCloud on iPhone. But to me, I think if it was just that, they would have just said it. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have been such a like, hey, it's coming to other platform. They would have just said, hey, it's gonna come to xCloud on iPhones or whatever. So I highly doubt it's if it does come to PlayStation, I'm buying it day one.
Of course.
of course.
I'm buying day one.
Here he is. Here's my new Phil Ness friend. There he is.
Now, I think Halo is a good franchise, so I will support a good game. Like I said, I don't think it's coming to PlayStation. I think Gears has a better chance of coming to PlayStation than Halo. But, somebody said in the chat, and I like what they said about exclusivity. Yeah, when Halo 3 came out, it had to come out, and it had to only come on 360 because they were competing against the PlayStation, and Microsoft wanted to keep that lead with that box. So, at this point, I'll say in this day and age, expect the unexpected. When you see certain things, we never thought there would be a day we see Sega, and Sega disappeared overnight. Microsoft has, they're a $1 trillion company, but just because you're a $1 trillion company, and I always hear like Xbox guys talk about, Microsoft the Microsoft
Don't bring that shit
behind
over
the
here.
Xbox.
You keep that stuff over there. They want mobile and console versions. You want to know what? That's what I was exactly talking about with the 3 million increase, Frog. The 3 million increase to xCloud is here. Google Stadia is here. Mobile versions and console versions and PC versions, it's all one game. Yes, developers want just one-stop shop. Well, I just put my game in a cloud and you just play it everywhere. But you don't understand. Gamers play on a console like controllers. Players that play on PC are familiar with a different type of experience. People that play on mobile are different. Gears 5 doesn't transition well from a mobile phone to a PC. And even if you play with PC gaming and you do mouse and keyboard and then go to console, maybe even the PC controller thing is okay. But this whole mobile version and console version, see, these sons of bitches think that the people that play Panda Pop, the people that play Age of whatever hell bullshit free-to-play games on mobile want to pay $15 a month, buy a $70 controller, clip on a bullshit, sit on a goddamn Starbucks, and play Gears 5 over 5G on a 5-inch phone with a $70 controller paying $15 a month. Your head is in the goddamn clouds. Hell, I think your head is up your ass before it goes into the clouds. That shit's not going. That's Stadia. They're shutting that shit down, their first party, because they're not wasting the time. Developers might want a one-size-fits-all, but a gamer is not a one-size-fits-all. So that's why they have such a disconnect. There's such a disconnect with us because they're not the same person. And I'm going to say, but it's one more rant. They're saying it's not for me. Oh, but it's for the children. It's for the children. Oh, really? Well, guess what? My son has access to Fortnite on his phone, and he goes, I can't play like this. He says, I'm not competitive. I'm getting killed. I got to play on a control. I got to play on this. The thing is, if you want to play that game, you're going to play it where it's best available. He will prefer not to play the game on a phone because of the touch screen, because Fortnite for him works better on a controller. So therefore, he's the future of gaming, and he knows the difference. At friggin' 7, 8 years old, knows that, this sucks. This sucks, bitch. I'm not playing Fortnite on the phone. And on top of that, Fortnite is really developed for phone. It's not streaming over the internet. So that makes that shit even worse, what they're trying to do. So I don't understand this bullshit that Microsoft is forcing down people's throat, thinking like, we're telling these developers that we could just put it everywhere and they don't have to do anything. But they're seeing with their growth and their subscriptions, it doesn't jive, man. The gamer is going to speak, and the gamer is going to put their money where they see value. And they don't see value in playing a console game streamed over the internet on a goddamn phone. Go ahead. I'm done.
I agree.
I'm done. That topic. These bullshit.
Yeah, I think you covered it.
Shit. These goddamn friggin' quotes. This is the thing that drives me crazy. This is the thing that makes me lose my friggin' voice, because you know what? And know what thing drives me crazy? Oh my God, here we go. When this fucker says this, console makers sometimes want exclusivity because they want their console to be special or better or whatever, but no, we don't think it's the answer. That fucking drives me crazy. That grinds my fucking gears, because you want to know why? You failed. And if you want to put your bullshit, mediocre horseshit games on a fucking service that nobody gives a fuck about, don't you dismiss the success of your competition doing something that you don't see as the answer. That might not be the answer for you, but everybody else seems fine. Everybody else seems to be doing a grand old time, making millions. Sony made the most money out of both Nintendo and Microsoft together, doing the thing where the console's supposed to be special or better. Well, guess what? That is successful. You're doing shit that Stadia dumped a year later. xCloud's been talked about for over 2 years with strap-ons. Nobody gives a shit about it. You added it to Game Pass, and you saw 3 million people. Hokey dokey. Let's screw them in the ass and give them Xbox Live for double a month. The thing is don't dismiss the success of people doing the right thing for gamers. They're making great games on their console. And it's not just to make them special or better. The thing is that those games are being built for targeted hardware. Zelda 2 is being built for the Switch's internals. The next God of War is being built for the PlayStation 5. Ratchet & Clank is being built with the specific hardware of the PlayStation 5, where it's going to be the best it can be because the developer just has to do the friggin' hardware that it's given. They don't have to worry about it running on 20 different goddamn PCs and a cell phone over the internet and a different S and an X. You know what? You're talking probably to Ubisoft, who says, here's a bunch of icons and here's the same bitch-ass game. We just changed the character around. You want to know what? Lazy devs want to just have a game that works on mobile and console, but don't want to do the time to make it optimized for mobile or make it work special for console. That's who you're talking to. You're talking to lazy fucking devs. That's who you're talking to. Somebody that just says, I just want to make one game and just work everywhere. Ta-da. Well, you know what? That sounds great for some like maybe horseshit game, but I don't understand. And maybe some indie devs want that kind of exposure, which probably is why a lot of indie people prefer the Game Pass subscription and shit. But don't you dismiss what the others are doing and seeing huge success. And it's not even just in gaming, but it's other streaming services as well, where they're bringing exclusive content to their services to make them special, to make them better, to make them worth a damn. God damn it. Forgot you guys were on here. I've seen a picture of this guy. I'm going to punch my goddamn screen, so I better move on. Because these dopey-ass people, I don't know what Phil juice he gives them and squeezes their ass, but man, you know what? God bless you, but you want to know what? That's why people go, why you talk about them? You want to know why? Because they dismiss the shit that we spent time talking about, games and buying a console and playing that stuff, the tradition that we have and the experiences that we're having with Ghost and Last of Us 2. How can you tell me that is the wrong way? And how can people who are real gamers and people who came from Xbox celebrate that kind of bullshit? I don't get it.
I don't know.
And that's what grinds my gears, because I don't know what Phil has. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. And I got his Phil Spencer bullshit right here.
I'm trying to
He used the phone. And Phil talking about lack of quality. He's all over the goddamn place spouting bullshit. But I'm done. And here we go. Here's my line.
Enough from me. We're going to have the games do our talking.
There we go. Thank you, Gordon Ramsay. Goddamn. Enough of me. Let the games do the talking. Holy shit. All right. I didn't know why I put that in there. That should have been a Grindstable. Oh, my God. But now, after my rant, we're going to Chris, who came back online. Chris, we're going to the Grindstable just for you, because you have something to share about what grinds your gears. And let me make sure my display is off here. Display off. I'm like flipping around all different things here. Yo, this dude, I want to, oh my God, I don't even want to read the article because I might just shut the stream off and just start ranting. So anyway, let me get to where we got to go. Lost track, grinding my gears. Now, we're going to go to the Grindstable. Chris has something to say about this whole control. Now, talking about bullshit, we're going to talk about Digital Foundry. Guys, hit that like button. Hit the dislike button. I guess we got one dislike because people don't like us talking about Phil Ness. But please hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. I want to see if my subscribe thing works, if you're new here. And let's get that likes over 50 as we go to the Grindstable. And we have something that grinds Chris's gears. And Chris is going to talk about it, and it's called Digital Foundry. And what they've been up to, I don't know. There's been a lot of stuff going on. But with that, here it goes. Grindstable, engage. Here we are, the Grindstable. We are sitting here around the table. And as I said before, I was going on the stream. Chris Grindius is here. and he is ready to grind some gears on there. Should I share your tweet to the grinders out here? This is where we come to vent.
That's fine. Yeah, no, that's fine.
I will get to that.
But I'll start with Control. So basically, okay, so we already know that the Control Ultimate Edition came out, which is, has the upgrades, right, for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series. So Digital Foundry, they did a comparison, you know what I mean? Then overall, it was, find out that the PlayStation 5 was overall performing, just a little bit better. It's not by much, but, overall it's performing just a little bit better, which obviously people are going to rub in people's faces because PS5 was supposed to be the weaker hardware, right? So everything was said and done after that comparison, right? Everybody walked away, okay, PlayStation 5 is running it better, plus you can get it on PS Plus for free, blah, 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 right? And then somebody on Twitter, they did something, right, where they showed Digital Foundry something to do with photo mode, right? So Digital Foundry decided to go back and they decided to do a benchmark of photo mode. Like, I know that sounds crazy to some people, like a benchmark of photo mode, literally photo mode. They're trying to see what the performance is from both of these consoles when it comes to photo mode, which I thought was absolutely ridiculous. I'm like, who freaking cares and stuff like that? So they were showing stuff like, the Series X with, the ray tracing, look at that, it's holding at 60 FPS more better in photo mode when there's like nothing going on and stuff like that. So I thought that was stupid as hell. But as that went on, right, people started discovering things, and I started seeing screenshots, right? The Alex guy from Digital Foundry literally said that the games are both identical when it comes to the visuals, the details, and everything, right? But then you started noticing stuff like there was a little bit more details in the PlayStation 5 version. Like there was more reflections in the ray tracing that was completely missing from the Xbox version. There was, just more details overall with the lighting and stuff like that. If you watch King Thrash, shout out to him.
Yes, I have it on here. He was on his round.
Yeah, he did it. He did a comparison.
Yeah, I have his photo here. This is the photo mode that's being referred to here.
Right. So and stuff like that. But so I'm thinking like this is just stupid. They're just fueling console wars. But that's not the part that grinds my gears. Right?
Oh, right.
That's not even the my gears was shifting. Even though I was kind of like, this is stupid. Like
it started churning your gears. It started churning your gears.
It started turning. The part is somewhere in that video, Digital Foundry alluded to the fact that third-party devs will probably not use the full capability of the Series X as far as like the full 56 or 52, whatever, 52 CU counts, whatever it is, right? Because the PlayStation 5 has 36 CU counts, and so the devs will go with more of the parity, right? So pretty much giving the impression that the PlayStation 5 will ultimately kind of hold back third-party games from the Series X because of parity, right? Even though that's complete bullshit, right?
Yeah.
The thing what grinds my gears is how can they say that and put the blame on the PlayStation 5, but then they didn't say anything about the Series S. If anything, the Series S is gonna hold back all of gaming, right? Yeah. All of gaming, all of next gen gamers, and this is what pisses me off because Microsoft decided to go with this cheap ass weak hardware, right? Just to have a cheaper console out there that nobody wants to buy. Nobody's gonna buy the Series S, like the Xperia, like a few people, but that's it, right? So, but it's not that. It's just like, okay, so you have non-developers, right? Digital Foundry and a lot of these Xbox dudes saying that, now they're running with this narrative, PlayStation 5 is gonna hold back this, Series X, or whatever. But none of them are taking into account with the Series S. So I said, okay, cool. You want to listen to them? Cool. Okay, so when I put up my tweet, I was like, okay, now let's see what developers are saying.
Yep.
Now let's see what actual developers are saying. Ever since the Series S has been, the specs was released, right, which is like last September or something like that, you've had a plethora of developers literally come out and say, like Remedy, IdTech, Infinity Ward, all of them talking about how concerned they were with the specs of the Series S because the memory is right? It has 10 gigabytes of RAM and it's split memory, right?
Yes.
So that's a complete bottleneck by itself, right? And they're talking about how this can hinder gameplay designs, right? It can actually hinder gameplay designs or whatever. So nobody's looking at this series. So I don't understand how like people are saying, oh, the PlayStation 5 is doing this, but then they don't look at the Series S. Okay, so cool. And then the thing when it comes to the PlayStation 5 and the Series X, ever since the PlayStation 5 has revealed their specs, right? You've seen a plethora of developers give way more praise to the PlayStation 5 hardware than you see them give the Series X hardware. Like, for example, like Jason Schreier, who's never wrong about his sources, literally said that multiple developers have told him that the PlayStation 5 is the superior hardware in several ways, despite the despite the specs. The Ready at Ready at Dawn guys, right? One of them said, yo, in the next, he said $1 bet in the next year, like gamers are gonna truly appreciate the hardware of the PlayStation 5, and you're gonna feel silly arguing about teraflops and other misunderstood specs or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. So we've seen developers give more praises and say that the PlayStation 5 is the superior hardware more than the Series X. And then we've seen also developers also give concerns about the Series S. So what pisses me off is that Microsoft decided to, because they wanted to have a cheaper console than Sony, right? They want to have a more affordable console so they don't, lose in price and shit like that with Game Pass machine or whatever, is now screwing pretty much all of next gen if it's mandatory. If it's mandatory that these developers have to develop for the Series S, there's pretty much screwing us over, because there's one developer, right? He was talking about how it's easier to scale in graphics than scaling gameplay. Then he said the amount of memory available is the determining factor in a lot of cases when we talk about the size of a world or about how many things can happen within at any given time. The size of the memory that is available in the Series S is the actual determining point for the entire console generation, as gameplay features have to be fitted into the lowest spec. From the point of view of a developer, it will be much easier for a single Xbox Series X queue and stuff like that. So how people are out here saying that, oh, now the PlayStation 5 is going to hold back, but then completely ignore that the Series S is literally going to hold back all of next gen, and developers are coming out and saying that the memory issues is very concerning and they don't want to deal with it, and they're pretty much pissed. I'm not going to say I'll say we're pissed, right? Because obviously they have deals with Microsoft, you know what I mean? But then at the same time, when they talk about the PlayStation 5, almost all of them are preferring the PlayStation 5 hardware over the Series X. So so I don't understand. So to me, it's like, what the hell is Digital Foundry talking about? It's like they're non-developer. Like, I respect them. I still see them as credible, even though I'm kind of questioning a lot of things, right? And here's another thing with Digital Foundry. Whenever we see comparisons between the Series X and the PlayStation 5, every time the PS5 is outperforming the Series X, they're always dumbfounded. They don't know why it's happening or whatever. When the Series X is dropping everywhere and shit like that, they always say, well, this is a bug. And we contacted the developers to let them know there's issues with the game and it could be a bug so they can fix it. But whenever the PlayStation 5 is dropping, they say, well, that's hardware. You know what I mean? They don't give the PS5 a benefit of the doubt by saying it's a bug. They don't give the PlayStation 5 a benefit of the doubt by contacting the developers and saying this is the issue that's going on with the PS5.
Yeah, remember the headlight in Dirt 5?
Yeah, and that's another thing in Dirt 5.
And then they keep saying bugs all the time, and it's interesting because I have like the picture right up here of this is their benchmark frame rate test, and this is just one of their things, and this is not even King Thrash's video, which I recommend people go check that out. But what they stated is that they said that, like, hey, here's photo mode right here. I'm showing it right here. And they basically said, like, oh, it's the same exact resolution, the same exact ray tracing, and we're just going to have an uncapped frame rate because some Twitter person said, hey, the frame rate's uncapped in photo mode, so you just got to move the camera around in photo mode, and it's an uncapped frame rate, and it shows. And obviously, if everything was similar the Xbox Series X should win because it has more processing power. You would think that it would have, when everything is just uncapped, it would work, right? So this whole thing is fine. But then when they started showing this stuff, and this is what Thrash pointed out, if you just look at the images look different. And it's not just lighting. It's actually like here, like look at this stuff here on the PlayStation 5. There's more textures and more things in this area than the Xbox version. So when you're making the claim that this is a benchmark, these are the same exact image, and we're just only isolating frame rate. Like, you removed all of the variables, and now it's just the frame rate. Well, you're making a false statement there because the images are not different. There's different lighting and different assets, it seems, in their own video.
It's just like Dirt 5, right? When we saw the comparison with Dirt 5, we can clearly see there was more textures, there was better textures,
there was more foliage. Jesus, Phil the Lawnmower Man Spencer was in there.
On the PlayStation 5 version, Digital Foundry, they didn't talk about that during the Dirt 5 comparison video. Like, I went to NX Gamer, and NX Gamer broke it way more down, like with that. So. And the thing with Control, right, we can clearly see two different images. Alex said, no, they're exactly the same. And then he said people are seeing things, right? And then he later deleted that post. And then he came out and said, well, you know, the reason why you're seeing this is because, you know, it's a streaming issue bug.
Bugs,
another thing with the bug, right? And he said, you see here, it's like, it's a streaming. So first you said there's no difference. Right. And then when people pointed it out to you, you said people are seeing things. And then you went back and did a blog about why you're seeing different images.
And he only did one image. He only showed the one image. I'll show you. That's the one
so you were wrong in the first place by saying they were exactly the same.
Yeah, and he hasn't vouched for the other scenes that were pointed out. And the one the big one that I saw on Twitter was this one, where there's actually better ray tracing on the PlayStation than on the Xbox. Like, there's this whole logo of the sign and stuff that's not there.
It's right there. The same situation happened with Hitman, right? When they would show the ray tracing mode in Hitman and stuff like that, bro. We've seen reflections on the PlayStation 5 that are not in the Series X version at all.
He said that was a bug. Was the water, right? The water effects in the top of Abu Dhabi or whatever the hell it was. Yeah.
Yeah, and here's the thing, because words are very powerful, especially how you utilize them and how people interpret them, right? Because every time they say this, right, check this out, they always say the issue may appear or appears to be a bug, right? So they're not saying it's a bug, they're just saying it may be, right? But the thing is, even when they say that, because they're Digital Foundry, a lot of fanboys are going to start running with that. Well, no, it's a bug because Digital Foundry said. No, they didn't say it was a bug. They say it may be a bug because they're dumbfounded.
They said it's some texture. So Froggy asked, have they responded to all the differences? Froggy, they only responded to the one that was in the, not the warehouse one, but the one that was in the, there was one where they're showing the dots on the ground, but this one is plain as day, and this is the one that stood out on Twitter. Was this one? They haven't. He's like, I don't know about the other stuff. The problem is not necessarily that the Xbox is running more frame rates than the PlayStation. The issue is with the whole
not in gameplay
in photo mode. The issue is that they basically stated that this is a benchmark because everything is the same, and the only variable is the frame rate. And the problem is that this is not true, because if you look, the images are totally different. They might have the same as resolution, but there's more stuff in the PlayStation one. Look right here and here. Like, this is obvious. If you're telling me this, and then you're like, well, look, it's a 30% difference, and you know, all the people then came out going like, oh, there's that 30% difference on Xbox Series X, and it's like, well, no, we told you, and it's like, it's in photo mode. But then when you look at it, the difference is like, this whole video should be deleted. All right, it should be like kind of like Digital Foundry bonus shit, because this is not a scientific proof. Like, these screens are not the same that you can say, well, it's only the frame rate right here. And first off, Xbox should be whooping PlayStation's ass, considering all the hype that they friggin' did. But you shouldn't have to go find the tools in goddamn photo mode. And you want to hear some shit.
But the thing is, Jazz, it's really not. And then this is something that I've seen other people bring up. Now I don't know if this is you can take this into consideration or anything like that. I don't know. I'm not a dev. I don't know how this stuff works. But people brought up what Cerny was saying back in his presentation last year when he was talking about, like the variable clock speeds and how like when the system doesn't need to push itself, it's going to lower the clock speed and stuff like that. So because it's in photo mode on the PS5, maybe like the CPU doesn't need to work as hard. Maybe that's why you're getting less, more frames and stuff like that. I don't know what.
I have no clue.
I don't know,
this is happening.
Or it can be a bug. I'm gonna use that.
It's a bug. Here's a bug right here, Chris. Is this a bug right here? Because look at the stuff that these are exactly the same. Look at the frame rate is 58 versus 46. Oh my God, Xbox dominates in graphics mode. But then you look at the COT, and the COT on the PlayStation version has a whole bunch more stuff on it than on the Xbox version, which means there's more physical objects that could be bumped around than this one. Mm-hmm. So, like, is that a bug that we load in more? And why are the bugs only one-sided? Like, there's more stuff in the PlayStation version, but that's a bug on the Xbox version. Well, first off, if it is a bug, then Microsoft better send goddamn Phil Spencer and not have him do goddamn interviews with Nintendo, because he has nothing to do with Nintendo's celebration. He should celebrate his own goddamn shit and go over to Remedy and go, where are my books? Where are the tools? Why are there so many bugs in our game? Because if you look, there's more detail in the PlayStation version. And why is the more detail a bug in the Xbox version? And this is photo mode. One thing, Chris, I wanted to we're all going to be quiet for 1 second, because I have the Digital Foundry video of when they actually did the first review before this hocus pocus bullshit photo mode, the real video. Mm-hmm. And if you could hear exactly what they're saying, hear this.
You can see on PC, but I actually am going to come back and revise that and say it's actually a little different, because on PC, I only had one stutter, and it was in the initial cutscene while the cutscene was still running. And that was it. And I assume that's something called shader compilation stutter, which is very common on PC, DXX 12, or Vulkan games, where on console, that's something that actually doesn't happen because they ship the shaders with the game. They're trying
to figure out why it stutters on the Xbox.
In real time or in runtime before the game starts. On console here, though, on Xbox Series X, specifically in the 60 FPS mode, as we're talking about right now, this is happening, almost every single time text comes on the screen, or when there's a slight transition in a cutscene, or during that one atrium fight that was seeing on Xbox Series X in that exact same scenario. There are some of those kind of 33.3 millisecond drops, but also some ones beneath that on the frame time graph, which point to, in my opinion, something not GPU related at all. It's very weird. It's almost like something stalling the game in that one moment. It's pretty weird, and I don't know what's causing it. It doesn't feel like it's intended behavior. It doesn't feel like it's something that the hardware should be responsible for.
So he's making excuses where he's like, it's not real the hardware. I don't know. It's not the GPU, but it's stuttering. You want to know what I think Digital Foundry needs to do? Where is it? Do I have it? Or maybe I'll just do it. They need to just
stop it.
Shut up. Let the game run. We don't need your bullshit commentary. All right? I think that's where Digital Foundry faults. You know what? Shut up. Just show the video, show the drop frames, and just go. We don't need your overlay. We don't need your discussion. Because all you're doing is talking theoretical. You're talking out your ass. Like, this can't be GPU. The fact is that on the most powerful console, it's stuttering. Nobody knows why. The devs, you think the devs just found this out? They're waiting for Digital Foundry to say, hey, tell me it's a glitch. It's just Digital Foundry is gonna game test our games. No. Their frame rate dips. And you want to hear what goes on? Let's go to the PlayStation performance mode. And let's hear exactly what the PlayStation performance mode has. Because you want to know what? Maybe it has the same dips. I don't know. Maybe it does. Or maybe it runs just fucking fine.
Yeah, and whenever it dips, it's a GPU problem. It's not a bug, Series S, right? But when the Xbox dips,
we're gonna hear the.
It's pretty hard to find any.
Well, first of all, PlayStation
extremely rock solid.
Yes.
it's pretty hard to find any drops at all. I think the one that you highlighted was when you kind of go into the NSC pumps area, and there's these weird, I don't know what to call them, growth creatures on the wall. They spurt stuff at you, and that stuff, whatever it may be, gets like a bunch of particles right in front of the camera.
Oh, but that's not a glitch,
and
though.
That can just like drop the FPS a bit.
Oh, okay. So when you fight that nipple-looking thing on the PlayStation and the frame rate drops just a little bit, that's not a glitch. That's just, it drops only that one time, but it's rock solid the rest of the time. Wait, why is that not a glitch? Maybe there's glitchy nipples. I don't know. Maybe they're glitchy nipples. But let's see about the performance mode, because I want to call a spade here. But look at this shit. Look at this frame rate.
Again, the GPU side combining with stutters, which we saw on Series X.
Stutters.
So again, it's that.
This is supposed to be, per Aaron Greenberg, the best place to play your games. All right? Play your old games better was all them talking. All right? Well, what are we doing here? Why are there these supposedly glitches and everybody's just boggled? Like, ooh, why is this? And why is Digital Foundry having to do extra videos to kind of prove that? Because what? You know what's called? You're supposed to be an unbiased party. You're supposed to be a scientific digital analysis of something. So you want to know what? Unless you're going to do something, you don't develop the hypothesis. You just report the facts. There are frame rate dips. Who knows why? Maybe it's the architecture. Maybe it's smart delivery. Maybe it's Phil Ness. Who the hell knows? Maybe it's Phil's DNA stuck in everybody's Xbox. Who the hell knows? Yeah. All I know is that the Xbox was billed as the more powerful console because Microsoft couldn't shut the fuck up about it. They said it's the most powerful console in the world. Therefore, these should be just pure 60 frames per second, and they should be beating Sony on all this stuff. Now let's get. Sony is rock solid, they say. And let's see. Wait, where is the other one? Here we go. Here's the performance.
This is put on these
of a 60 hertz game, both visually and.
This is.
I do like the ray tracing.
Here we go. PlayStation 5 performance mode.
It does feel like a game that rewards that fast, rapid precision from 60 FPS.
Of a 60 hertz game, both visually and in controls. When you pan the camera in a 30 FPS game with motion blur, I think it's a little disorienting sometimes. But at 60 FPS, even with motion blur, I find it just looks great. It just looks good. That's the way to put it. The one thing I want to say about this version is that at the end, I think it's good on both platforms. I just really hope they look into the stuttering that's happening on Series consoles, both in the 30 and 60 FPS mode on Series X and on Series S there.
Why? You heard that? I don't know if, Chris, you heard that. I'm sorry. The way my setup is, you probably can't hear what he said. But in the video, he's like, it's good on both platforms. He's like, yeah, it's good on both platforms, but I really hope they look into the stuttering on the Xbox and the Series. Why? If that's the way the game is running, that's the way the game is running. Why do they need to? Why is there all this extra? Why? Because like on paper, the Xbox is supposed to be better than the PlayStation because that's what the marketing said, and that's why when they flew you out there, they butted your balls and butted your ass, and they gave you pretzels, and they gave you cereal, and they gave you bananas, and they made you play with the magnets like a goddamn kid on daycare, and you're plugging the, oh, look how I got billed the Series X, oh, the magnets, here it comes, oh, Digital Foundry, wipe my ass, kiss my ass, Phil, take me out to dinner, they wined and dined you, and now you're like, whoa, wait a second, I can't do this. Or is Phil emailing them, what is going on there, all right? Because they're looking like Phil Foundry, goddamn it. Just report the information, and like I said, you want to know what, guys? Just shut the fuck up. We don't need your commentary. Just run your little cute little bar graph at the bottom, show your little resolution, get you through 200,000 views, celebrate your 1 million subscribers, and call it a day. We don't need the commentary because you know what? That's where it's hurting. Actually, guys, that's where it's hurting. Their commentary, because they should just be reporting the data rather than determining what it is. Because
and here's the thing. And no, the PS5 doesn't have certain issues. But here's the thing. I don't like I'm not the type of person. I don't like being a conspiracy guy. I don't like being like, oh, they're paid off and stuff. I don't think like that. I don't like thinking like that. But it's. And I'm not one of those fanboys that are in denial that be like, oh no,
I don't care. Let it whoop its ass.
Isn't powerful, whatever. Even though developers are saying something different. The thing is like was like Digital Foundry. What I've been seeing, because I used to watch them a lot, but what I've been seeing a lot lately from them is that how we see that when they do the comparisons and when there's stuff that are like kind of clearly better as far as like the reflections or some of the details that are clearly better that we can see from their video, right? We can see from their video that's on the PlayStation 5 rather than the Series X. They don't mention that at all. Like you see other people mention it, like NX Gamer, he'll mention it, stuff like that. But Digital Foundry would never mention that, right? When the PlayStation 5 dips, it's a hardware issues. When the Xbox Series X dips, it's always a bug. And they always contact the developer.
That's the problem.
And they always contact the
the contact and the dev,
right? And stuff like that. So I'm sitting here, it's like okay, cool, whatever, right? And they don't never know, right? They're saying it may be.
They don't know.
They're not developers. They're not developers.
But Chris, the part where he said that the frame rate dropped, and this is the problem, Froggy. You heard him when he's playing with the nipples, the space the alien nipples, and he goes, "Oh, this is the only place where it dropped." He doesn't go like, "Well, it's solid everywhere else in the game. I don't know why it's dropping with the nipples because it's shooting stuff at you." And he kind of laughs. He goes, "Ha ha ha! There it is. Where is that part with the nipples?" There it is. He's like this.
And you know what's funny?
But the Xbox, it's like it's hitching and glitching. Oh, I don't know why.
And the reason why they locked it at 30, right? Because in ray tracing mode, because both of the consoles dip in the ray tracing mode in 30, like they'll go down to like 28 or 27 FPS, right? Like both of them. So in photo mode, where there's like nothing happening, right? They're running at higher FPS, but due to the fact that they drop even when it's at 30, even when it's locked at 30. So you're telling me like when shit is going on in the ray tracing, like, you know what's going to happen? It's going to be like 50, 60 frames, and then it's going to drop down to 26 frames and shit, like all over the place and shit like that. So they're not even locked at 30. So that's why Remedy decided to, just lock it at 30.
Well,
with the ray
Remedy
tracing
also came out and said that, the Series S was running at the resolution because of not the limitation of the game, but like of the hardware itself. And everybody said that was so biased of Remedy, like they shouldn't be talking ill of the Series S and all that other stuff. But like, here's the part. Here, Froggy. Here, look. Now the frame rate dips on PlayStation, but let's hear. Is it a glitch? Maybe they got to look into it. I really hope they fix why these alien nipples are dropping the frame rate on PlayStation. Let's hear his impression of this one.
NSC pumps area, and there's these weird, I don't know what to call them, growth creatures on the wall. They spurt stuff at you, and that stuff, whatever it may be, gets like a bunch of particles right in front of the camera, and that can just like drop the FPS a bit. But it's extremely rare. I guess it can probably happen in another instance like that when an explosion happens really close to the camera and there's tons of particles there. But that's something that is going to be very rare. I guess.
Oh, okay. So that's how it is on the PlayStation when it drops, right? But then when the Xbox, and that wasn't even like a frame or two. Like, who gives a shit? This thing is like stuttering, visual stuttering, and they're like
1 second, like the drops we might have seen on the PlayStation 5, which are smaller, 33.3 ms drops.
These are big drops.
An actual visual stutter, and that's something that I saw more like on PlayStation 4 Pro, oddly enough. And one thing to mention about this is that we mentioned previously in my article on the website that this reminds us a bit of the stutter that we can see on PC, but I actually am going to come back and
where's his stutter? Hey,
that's something that actually doesn't happen.
Look at these drops.
And that was it. And I assume that's something called shader compilation stutter, which is very common on PC.
So why does the Xbox have stutters similar to PC, but the PlayStation doesn't have that, and therefore they're basically saying that Xbox is a glitch? Like, I don't understand.
You know why? Because I think PlayStation is faster when it comes to streaming assets and stuff like that, right? So I think what we're seeing is like the stuttering is coming in from the game. Plus, Control, honestly, the engine that they're using is not very well optimized because it's super.
Oh man, it was fuzzy as hell on the PlayStation.
Yo, what up?
Yeah, and on PC and all that stuff. Yeah.
But anyway, Frog, what do you think about this whole like? First off, let me just introduce you. Frog's been hearing us, but the thing is like, it's the issue is just like I think the problem. First off, for my opinion, before I get to Frogs, is that I think that digital. Who's this?
No, that's Link. Link.
I don't know where Frogs went. He's like fighting his dogs. I don't know what's going on. What's up, Link? Yo, Link. So we get to you. So I assume you've been hearing us in this whole thing.
Yeah.
Shout out to Link. So the thing is that I think my biggest thing with Digital Foundry is that I think that they are monetizing off this whole like versus console thing, and I really don't think what they're providing is really to so much of a value, especially now with these new gen consoles. I really think that they're just pulling hairs right now to try to stay relevant. And, you know, if you look at every single one of their videos, like everybody got to make a buck nowadays, I know. And it says sponsored video in the corner. It's not sponsored by Xbox, but like they're trying to make a living. But I do think that a lot of this stuff is that they're trying to kind of like pull hairs right now. And I think the biggest problem that they have is the commentary. I think that's where they stumble a lot because they're interpreting the data rather than just reporting the data. They have no influence on the frame rate or on the graphics. They're not going to be able to figure out why it's happening. They just know that it's happening, and that's their job. Just tell me it's happening. You're not the developer. You don't know why. You could take that information on the back end and give it to the devs, but you don't add your interpretation as to what is causing this stuff or how it should be done. Just show your charts and show your resolution and call it a day. Just be the reporter because that's your job. You're not the developer. And my problem is their commentary, because that's where it seems they're getting a lot of stuff because what they're showing is not matching what they're saying. They're saying like this is this and excusing stuff, but they're showing frame rate drops, and they're trying to just kind of damage control it or say it's something else. And
okay, hold on, Joe. Okay, so apparently the IGN did a comparison as well, but I think this is NX Gamer. I think they got NX Gamer on there.
He don't say anything, right? Oh no, he says stuff, right? NX Gamer, who's?
Yeah, no, he's an analyst as well. He's an analyst as well. But let's listen to what he's saying here. I sent you the link on Twitter.
All right, Link. You say it while I go look for this thing. Tell me your impression of Digital Foundry.
Oh, as far as the photo mode, or
the whole photo mode.
Photo mode.
Them
saying how developers won't fully utilize the Series X because of the PS5
glitches,
and because of parity, but they completely missed out the Series S will be holding back.
They okay. I'm gonna be honest. You know, I really feel like they've kind of aligned themselves more with Microsoft as far as they expect the Microsoft console to outperform the PlayStation, and it's not happening in most games. And so they're just totally baffled by why this could be happening. But what they're not realizing is these guys are just looking at some numbers on a spreadsheet. Oh, this has more teraflops. They don't really analyze this footage to the degree that you would think a website like this is what they're supposed to do, is analyze the footage. And they're not really doing that. When they say that both these games run at the same settings, when you can zoom in and clearly tell the level of detail of the Xbox version is not the same in the ray tracing or in some of the environment. So it's not adding up.
Yeah.
And it just seems like they want the Xbox to get a W in these performances and these comparisons. It's like they're looking for some way to give Microsoft a win when it's not there.
Yeah.
And I think, you know why? I think because Microsoft, okay, when it comes to business and stuff like that, Microsoft provides more for Digital Foundry. Like they'll give them, like they fly them out. Hey, break down the Series X. Hey, do this and do that. When it comes to Sony didn't give Digital Foundry shit for a while, and you could tell that when they were talking about that, they were pissed about that. Like, oh, Microsoft is sending us this, and they're sending us this Series X so we can do our jobs and whatever. And Sony was just like, Sony sent them shit out this like very late, and you know what I mean. So I think they feel more like, I don't know. It's like I don't know, because I don't like being that guy. I don't like being that guy being like, oh, they're paid off or anything like that. Yeah, conspiracy theories and shit like that. But it clearly, we see that Microsoft continues to use Digital Foundry, and they usually like give them like like special privileges to exclusive to breakdown versus Sony. Sony doesn't really give Digital Foundry that much privilege or exclusives and stuff like that. So I think that plays a factor, but I don't know.
When you're looking at something in photo mode, right, and you're saying, okay, the Series X version is running at higher frames, there's nothing going on in photo mode. The AI is not being used. Whatever the dynamic in the environment is not taking place. So I don't understand how you can use that as a benchmark to judge the performance of these consoles. Why is the Series X has higher frames in photo mode but drops lower when the game is actually running?
That's a glitch. That's what they're saying.
That's what. But you know what's crazy?
It's a glitch.
The PC version, if you go to Eurogamer, they have an article when they were talking about comparing the Xbox Series X and the PS5. They said that the Series X has a lot of I/O stutter and things like that, right? They also said that the PC version suffers from similar stutters.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly, the PlayStation has an advantage when it comes to the ability to stream in the assets with the faster SSD. That's probably why you're not having the stutter, because it's the SSD is twice as fast, so it can stream in the world, the environment, and the assets quicker, so you won't have the I/O stutter.
What the hell's this? Chris, you sent me something. Why is the PlayStation have all this like debris on the floor? And
they've stretched their pixel.
I'm doing that NX Gamer on IGN.
60 by 1440. Again, appear fixed in both modes. Using Northlight temporal.
He did a video on IGN about the comparison of these two, and it's like the Series S and the Xbox don't have anything on the floor, but the Sony has like a whole bunch of texture stuff on the floor.
A8 reconstruction, it pushes that up to that 4K output. And we first saw this temporal A8 in Quantum Break. But here, like other parts of the engine,
it right now so I can listen to it, or because I haven't heard it, so I don't know. He could be saying that. No, go ahead and start playing it. I'll be quiet.
No, I don't know. I'll listen to some of it.
Has been updated or tweaked for that next round of hardware. It has a great deal of weight to carry thanks to the game's art style and its strong specular highlights, contrasting tones, thin lines, and abundant SSR or ray traced reflections. It delivers a confident equilibrium of maintaining texture detail sharpness but reducing the sub-pixel temporal stability, even in movement, something you do a great deal of. It's not the best we've seen, with some areas becoming quite noisy and they can break up worse on the Series S. That reconstructed nature of the ray trace reflections can be noticed here in photo mode, or just looking at it in glass. You notice that delayed trail as you move the camera, and that resolution breaks down to its base, and then when you stop it catches up, and that previous frame converges with the current frame into a fuller, cleaner object. Something similar in the rasterized image also, that uses that temporal AA to reconstruct the image back up to 4K. The ray tracing is very effective, with an excellent combination of surface normals, micro help with at times, making the surface look more realistic.
That's not the thing, it's the performance.
Reduced. They look great, and the BD8 structure does hold a great deal of objects. These are all dynamically allocated at certain. Notice here is you get dual reflections on the PS5 in these ray trace reflections on glass when there is two surfaces, the glass itself at the front and then those brass strips behind, so you get a double reflection in this mirror. You do not get that on the Xbox or even the PC version, so again that does point to a little difference in terms of how they're utilising that Northlight engine and the specific API that's being used on the PS5 around ray tracing. But generally they are very similar.
So here we said about the ray tracing
at the front, and then those brass strips behind, so you get a double reflection in this mirror. You do not get that on the Xbox or even the PC version, so again that does point to a little difference in terms of how they're utilising that Northlight engine and the specific API that's being used on the PS5 around ray tracing. But
and I think just what you're saying about, and I think this is what we're seeing across the board. It's not just with this game, but I think what we're seeing is that.
Oh look, okay. So
what number?
Okay, so the. Well, no, I sent you the cut up clip on Twitter, and from that clip, he's talking about how the Series X has the Series X has an issue with some of the reflection or something like that.
That's what I just played. Yeah, I just played that thing.
Yeah, and then when he does it on the PS5, they don't have that issue. Again, something that Digital Foundry did not fucking mention. They said it was exactly the same.
Exactly, and that's the whole point of this thing. Digital Foundry saying it's the same picture. I'm like, no, it's not.
It's not just. I mean, they're not digging into the image. They're not zooming. They're not. They, you know what? They do so much zooming in 400 times on PlayStation.
You think they would catch that
games.
stuff? It's so obvious. That's the biggest
Well,
problem.
they do it on PlayStation exclusive games, but when it's these third-party comparisons, they don't do that. So I don't understand.
That's why Thrash has to make a video.
Oh, and another thing too. Again, once again, not to be a conspiracy theorist, but you notice how Digital Foundry has been doing comparisons. They've been stacking up the PlayStation 5 against the PC, right?
Yes,
right.
Yes.
They have.
Did that in the
Why
last
haven't
video.
they done that with the Series X?
I know, it's
They
the most
haven't
powerful
put the
console.
Series X with the PC.
Why is
but
the
they've done the
PS5?
PS5 versus the PC.
Exactly.
But they never did. Have never done the Series X versus the PC. Let's see what the Series X does against it. Let's see. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I don't know either, but you're right. You're totally
funny,
right.
Man, they've been moving funny.
Yeah, they've been saying like,
funny.
"Hell, here's Windows 10 PC versus PlayStation 5." It's like, well, wait a second. Why wouldn't you do Xbox Series X versus Windows 10 PC? They like, why would you show the differences that way? And here's the frame rate. I want to hear what he says about the frame rate in photo mode. Let's see what he says.
Are locked.
Let's see.
What you can see here is that this scene, spinning the camera around in the same spot in this room, the Series X holds a locked 60, not dropping one single frame, whereas the PS5 can dip somewhere between 16% and 5% delta as the camera moves around. Now remember, this is not the same as playing the game. There's no dynamic objects, there's no explosions, there's no CPU load.
So he says photo mode is not the same because there's no dynamic objects, no explosions, nothing going on. It's just okay.
At all, really. There's no data being streamed in and out, so it's not really indicative of how the game would look. But on a pure rasterization and then ray tracing level, it does give us a view under the hood in terms of how the hardware is handling ray tracing, and that's because the more CUs and more TMUs, irrespective of clock speed, does point to the fact that the Series X should be better slightly at ray tracing, and this test proves it. But again, there's more to discuss around the APIs, the construction, and just how the ray tracing is working, but it's a good test nonetheless. Just as a quick comparison as well, comparing this to my 2070 Super, again on the same settings I can compare with consoles, again those reflections factored in, spinning the camera around in photo mode in the exact same spot. Then the PS5 is slightly faster than the 2070 Super, and the Series X is obviously faster than them both. So it does give you a good example of just how good these consoles are already at doing ray traced reflections across multi-platform titles like this.
Call me Jesse. Okay, Jesse.
It's still useless.
It seems to have spread.
It is like my eyes are getting crossed with this whole thing. It's like, you know, these guys showing up numbers and afterburner and stuff like that. Like, this is just so technical. But obviously, the thing that he's saying is that obviously the Xbox will be more powerful in brute force computation because of the more CUs and because it has more teraflops. That's been the thing. Obviously, it's 12 versus 10, you know, and there's just more stuff. The difference is, and we're seeing this across a lot of different games, is that the design, the way the game is working on the PlayStation 5 seems to be more optimized, where the Xbox seems to be more of a Frankenstein of a machine, more akin to putting parts together in a PC, and just like Windows, hoping that your GPU combines with your RAM and talking with this and that. Now, Xbox does have some customization, but Xbox is also running a kernel of Windows 10, so it has that kind of PC kind of Frankenstein build, whereas the PlayStation, just like how their UI and everything, the way the PlayStation is constructed is that it seems to be more optimized for games. It's a game machine, where the Xbox seems to be a PC that could play games, or a console, a PC derivative console that could play games, whereas the PlayStation seems to be ground up to handle games better.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it like this, right? The way Microsoft built the Series X, they built they built the Series X like a traditional custom PC, like how the Xbox One, like the PS4 and stuff like that. Like, you know, they went the traditional way, right, of just giving it more brute force, putting parts together like a PC, and it's custom and whatnot. Sony's approach, they did a custom gaming console. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know if people like understand what I'm saying. It's like Sony is definitely more custom, and there's things that PlayStation is doing and the technology that it has that the Series X doesn't have. And you can say vice versa, right? Both have their strengths and weaknesses. You know what I mean? The Series X may have stuff that is better than what the PlayStation 5 has, and vice versa and stuff like that. But we've seen developers be way more excited about the PlayStation 5 and what it's doing and its capability. And PlayStation 5 seems to be a little bit more future proof when it comes to that. So that's why they built, like, they went with the faster SSD instead of the more teraflops. They did a separate sound chip. You know what I mean? They have this new technology called like the geometry engine that's supposed to, like, you know what I mean, make everything easier and smoother and stuff like that. So it's like, so
and you know what else, Chris? Like, the thing is too, it's like, this kind of happened already with the PlayStation 4 Pro versus the Xbox One X. God of War, Uncharted, Last of Us 2, those games looked better than anything that the 6 teraflops could even, show. Gears was probably the closest that they could do that, and that was one game. That was about it. Where Sony had a bunch of games, and I know that's their first party, but the thing is that it showed the capabilities of the PlayStation 4 with the lower teraflops. That teraflops is not the only thing. It has to do with the way the components are communicating with each other and how that's all built.
Yes, and there was a comparison video between the Series X and the PS5 4K Blu-ray player.
I had that on my list. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, I've seen that, but I don't care about that. I don't use
4K Blu-rays.
But
I
don't really it was just. Yeah. But it also shows you how these two consoles handle HDR, so it does matter.
Yeah. No, that's
and
right.
The which I don't know if that's something you're gonna talk about later.
You're right. I was gonna because that was something I was gonna. I think I added it to the thing, but you're right. That is something that I had on here. Where was it? But yeah, talk about it. I'm gonna find it.
Well, it's just basically that the PlayStation is able to output at a better HDR. I mean, it just there's more color. It's a higher bit rate. I mean, it's just in the video, the guy even kind of referenced the fact that the Series X handles HDR like a PC handles HDR.
Have you ever?
And
I have it right here.
It's because the Series X is just it's more like a PC. And so it does run on Windows, so it doesn't handle HDR as good as the PlayStation does. It just doesn't.
Because Sony knows about that technology.
I have it right. I'll play a little clip from it.
Patterns from the Spears and Mansell UHD HDR benchmark disc with the outer regions.
By the way, NS Gamer is way better,
looking dimmer,
more detailed than Digital Foundry is.
Oh yes,
deeper using
way better,
indicating that the chroma channels Spears and Mansell UHD HDR benchmark disc. A similar trend can be seen
this
as
is a
we
very
cycle
technical
through
video
the
from
chroma
somebody
zone plate patterns from the Spears and Mansell UHD HDR with the outer regions, which are of higher frequencies, looking dimmer on the Xbox Series X, again suggesting more severe roll-off of the chroma channels. Next, we put up some color ramp patterns on both the Sony PS5 and the Xbox Series X, and the PS5 rendered the gradations in a smoother manner compared with the Xbox Series X, which exhibited visible bands including the occasional brighter streaks. Using the secret freezing information bar on the LG CX, we found out that the PS5 was outputting 12-bit YCBCR 444 during playback of UHD resolution at 23.976 frames per second, whereas the Xbox Series X was outputting 10-bit RGB, which may account for the difference in color gradation. We tried various methods on the Xbox Series X to try and force 12-bit output when playing 24Hz 4K Blu-rays, including checking YCC422 in the video modes menu, as well as selecting 12-bit under the video fidelity and overscan section. But on our Xbox Series X review unit with the latest system update installed at the time we filmed this video in February 2021, the HDMI output for 24Hz 4K Blu-rays always topped out at 10-bit RGB, revealing the console's PC-centric design. Now, there's always the small possibility that the difference in chroma bandwidth and color ramp smoothness we observed on screen was actually introduced by how the LG CX or C10 OLED handles YCBCR versus RGB. So to rule out that possibility, we hooked up the PS5 and the Xbox Series X to as many televisions as we could get our hands on. We will show you the results after a quick message from our sponsor.
Yeah, that's great. So so they're saying that they couldn't get the Xbox to output a 12-bit for 4K Blu-rays. Like, even though they had, the Sony was able to get the 12-bit out there. But one of the things that I saw in this video that was pretty interesting was how the Xbox again skips frames watching it. Now, this is for the technophils and the people that want the best possible picture ever. It is very minute, but the fact of that it exists, and the fact that it exists doesn't mean that the Xbox Series X is a bad console or anything like that. It shouldn't happen if your marketing and what you're promoting is that this is the most powerful machine that does everything the best. The thing is that these things should not be happening, because if you want to be the best, you got to be the best. And you have all this overhead, you have all this power, and it shows that, to me, this makes me feel that it makes me feel exactly what I believed, was that Sony took more thought and care in developing a system than Microsoft did. Microsoft seemed to, I'm not saying that Microsoft didn't care, I just think that Sony did more caring into their thing, where Microsoft just kind of put some stuff together because it worked for them, and I just feel that they're not selling us what they promised. And the games, Control is not the only game that this happened in. This stuff is just happening across the board with everything with the Xbox. And
yo, you fucking crazy, bro.
What?
The Digital Foundry, that Alex from Digital Foundry literally said there was no difference. It was all 100% the same.
Yeah.
Nothing was going on differently in the Series X version than the PS5 version, or vice versa. And then we see NX Gamer, and he literally exposed them for fucking. That's not true. Like, that's what I'm saying.
But Chris, you could see it with your own two
but
eyes.
I'm a fanboy, right? I'm just a salty.
But you're
I'm
toxic.
just a salty PlayStation fanboy
Toxic.
who can't accept the reality that the Series X is just more powerful.
You just made the list. You made the toxic list. Toxic list, Chris.
We don't see that in the results. Like, we don't
exactly.
See that in the
That's the
results.
problem. That's what I mean. Like, and you know what else too? All this hyperbole about all these people celebrating the power before we even saw the results now are trying to kind of explain themselves. That's why this can't be true, because they talked about power and the deltas and all this other shit, and now when we're seeing the games, let the games do the talking, and when we're seeing the product on shelves where people could compare it, the carpet's not matching the drapes. Go ahead, Link.
Nope. I mean, the problem is that if Microsoft wouldn't have been just beating their chest about all the teraflops and this and what is the console eats monsters and all this other stuff that they said, all Mark Cerny did was just come out and state what this console was capable of, and it's doing exactly what it's capable of doing. And the fact that even if they come out dead even, that's still a W for PlayStation, because the Xbox is supposed to be the more powerful console. Digital Foundry is being exposed by the fact that they're blatantly, I don't want to say, they're lying, because they're not analyzing this footage to say that these games are running identical when you're looking at the ray tracing, and you can clearly tell the PlayStation
They're not being totally honest and upfront. Yeah.
The PlayStation has better ray tracing. And I mean, it wasn't hard for NX Gamer to break down the footage and say that the reflections were better on the PlayStation. I mean, but Digital Foundry is not doing that. I mean, when you're putting up footage and somebody can pause the footage, analyze both, somebody like me or you or King Thrash can sit there and say, hey, they're same reflection on both consoles. The PlayStation reflection has more detail in it than the Xbox version, but they are telling you that these games look identical.
Yeah. And he said the dev said it. Like, the dev said, I'm like, yeah, maybe referring to resolution.
Well, those are the settings that are the same. The resolution, that settings are the same. So that's probably what the dev told you. Yeah. When it comes, no, both are 4K or both are 1440p or something.
But why
like that,
are you
right?
taking the information from the free? Why are you not analyzing the footage yourself to find out what the differences are? Exactly. Why are you just saying the developer told me this, the developer said this?
So therefore, I'm not going to analyze it. Yeah,
I'm not analyzing it. They're not even analyzing the footage. They're not analyzing
it. Like I got the picture here. This is from Thresh, but from the video, like I showed it before. He's telling you right now. He's like looking at this picture. He's like, these are identical pictures, so we could see the frame rate jumps and the stuff, and it's like they're not identical. This is like a highlights magazine. There's different ray tracing right where those arrows are. It's different. There's different details in one of them. So you can't just say that these are same because the dev said it. Oh, the resolutions might be the same, but if you look at the objects in there, and then to be like, well, some of these were a glitch, a texture filtering glitch on, like, stop backtracking. The thing is that you saw some tweet or somebody saying that the frame rate's unlocked. You need to make a sponsor video, and you could show, hey, look, the Xbox is actually showing more frame rates than PlayStation. Let's do it, because if you look at the comments of the Control, the initial one that they put out, they're like, oh, look at the stuttering on Xbox, PlayStation wins again and stuff, and they see that. They go, you know what? Let's do a counter to that, and we could get even more views. So let's do this video and just say everything's the same, and it's like, it's not the same, man. And first of all, it's photo mode. How does that benefit the gamer who's watching your video? What is this fueling? What is this doing? This does nothing. That's why
Can you feel the frame dips in photo mode when the game is not even moving?
Yeah.
I don't understand
it. It makes no sense. It makes no sense why they would do the video. I understand why, you know, they got to put content out, but the thing is like they're looking very suspect right now, and the fact that they're letting this kind of stuff, and people are like, well, it's all just small details and all this other stuff. I'm like, but that's their job. Their job is to zoom in at 300% and tell you about the stuff, because I'm not doing that shit. And that's their job. So you can't just go like, hey, the frame rate's better, but it's the same picture. And it's like, no, it's not the same picture. There's different things in there. So as soon as you saw that, you should have said, dude, like, we're done. But they didn't. They kept going with it, and they kept talking about this frame rate stuff. And the thing is that every time the Xbox has hit, and this is not the first game where the Xbox has hitches or it stutters, or why is this, and they're like, oh, we told the devs, oh, why is the textures not loading in? Why are they missing bushes? And they had to fix the bushes. My problem is that
on the on Cyberpunk, which is a terrible
Cyberpunk, but also on Dirt, they were missing
Cyberpunk,
bushes, they patched in the bushes. The fact is
the
that
game freezing for like literally 1 minute.
Yeah,
on the Xbox.
But the thing is, the fact that it's happening at all. The thing is that this shouldn't happen at all on the world's most powerful console that was built as such. Glitches, missing bushes, missing foliage. Oh, we're going to patch it in later. This should not be happening. And the fact that it is happening actually is causing a lot of kind of people that promoted this stuff to kind of figure out how to get out of it and damage control it. And the other thing is like, it's showing that the PlayStation 5 seems to be a better optimized, and I think that's the key word, optimized machine when it comes to gaming. When it comes to making games for developers, when it comes to playing games and the way the games function, I think the PlayStation is a better optimized piece of hardware, and Xbox is still...
And it's easier to develop for, and it has better... Developers have said that. It's easier to develop for, and it have better tools and stuff like that.
The tools!
You know what's crazy? Right? Check this out, right? Because when I was bringing up stuff like the id Software guy and... you know, like Infinity War and stuff like that, where they were talking about the PS5 and stuff like that. Well, there was another developer from Crytek. I don't know if y'all remember this.
That
right?
one, yeah.
I think I remember it.
Where hold on, let me see if I can find it.
The Crytek dev said, like, again, they said the same thing about the whole, like, the architecture of the PlayStation.
This is what he said. This is what he said, right? When they were asking about the differences about the PlayStation 5 and compared to the Series X. He stated this. He said, PlayStation 5, right, is the easiest console that they have ever coded on to reach its peak performance. It is extremely simple and has many abilities that makes the dev so free. As a programmer, I say the PS5 is much better And I don't think you can find a programmer that can name one advantage that the Xbox Series X has over the PlayStation 5.
Damn. Kratos has something to say about that. Damn.
That's what I'm saying. These are what developers. See, this is not me, some fanboy. Oh, not the PS5. No, I'm going off of what developers are saying. I'm relaying the message of what developers, because I don't know this shit. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Right? All I know is I don't know.
I'm going from the people who do know what they're talking about, who works on these consoles, who have these consoles, and they've been saying the same shit. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, this teraflop shit, like y'all gonna be looking stupid as fuck in the next 1 or 2 years. You know what I mean? Because y'all about to see that the PlayStation 5...
But they're double downing, Chris. They're going like the tools are going to give it better. Yeah. They're going to make these huge increases in tools.
But the PlayStation 5 tools is also going to be better as well, too. It goes both ways. Like, both are going to improve. The Xbox Series is a great console spec-wise and stuff like that. So even like, when the Series X slightly outperforms the PS5... It's not a noticeable difference, and even vice versa. But the thing is, it's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be the Series X is supposed to outperform the PlayStation 5.
Outperform, not and you're right. Outperform, not
in
equal.
The same, not same. Yeah, not equal, but outperform. Yeah, go ahead.
And what has devs, not me, not you guys, developers are saying? They have not said positive things about the Series S console.
No, they hate that shit. They hate the fucking memory, the RAM.
The memory is very slow, and it has a much smaller pool of RAM than the other consoles.
And it's split.
It's split. It's split. Both consoles have split RAM. And I'm telling you that these things are going to affect game development on that console. It's common sense. There is clearly a bottleneck in the RAM,
which has pissed me off.
And know what else, Link? You make a good point, because you know what else too is that we're seeing when actually they're comparing the S and the X's, you're seeing that there are derivatives from the S that are being carried over to the X, like the missing foliage, and we saw this in Outer Worlds too, where like the PlayStation 4 had a bunch of trees, but the Xbox didn't, and the base S didn't have it, but then the Xbox One X didn't have it either, and it's like, why? And it's because it's running a component of the Xbox family, and whatever they decided to run on the Xbox family, that's like, the Xbox higher end model are getting kind of damaged goods. Like, you could tell that they're building from the bottom up rather than from the top down.
Here's the difference between both of these consoles and how they were designed. The Series X went with more raw horsepower, right? But they made other decisions like the split RAM and a few other decisions they're gonna start seeing bottlenecks, right? Or they already are seeing bottlenecks or whatever. So the console is not gonna fully be efficient. Versus the PlayStation 5, they did things in the PlayStation 5 and customized things to make sure that there's no bottlenecks, that everything works together to its maximum and it's efficient. So Microsoft went with more raw horsepower, while PlayStation went with more efficiency, right, and speed. And that's what we're really going to start to see the PlayStation shine more so than the Series X later in this generation, when we get newer engines and stuff like. This is why Unreal, right? This is why Epic Games decided to demo the Unreal Engine 5 on the PlayStation 5, and Epic Games were saying, like, listen, what the PlayStation 5 is doing with its I/O output through and all that shit, it's like it's gonna benefit, like the Unreal Engine 5 is gonna they were saying that no other hardware as of that time of the PS5, right? That no other hardware is running the Unreal Engine 5 as efficient. Not that no other hardware can't run the Unreal Engine or that demo, right? Because the Series X could run that Unreal 5 engine demo, but not as efficient as what the PlayStation. This was them who saying that, but of course, oh no, Sony paid them off. They did deals and stuff like that. It's like, nah, these are engine makers. Like there's a reason why they were excited about the PS5 and showing the Unreal Engine 5 on the PS5 more so than the PC or the stuff like that. Yeah. So go ahead, my bad.
Okay, so we're talking about a little bit of stuff. Look at the install size of the PS5 version versus the Series X version.
Yeah, that's another thing too.
Different.
Yeah,
And so
it's
clear that the PlayStation has a better compression technology than Xbox. Now, I thought they said the file sizes on these games would be smaller on the Series S because it didn't need 4K assets. But doesn't appear to be the case right now.
It doesn't matter because it's the same version.
Same version of the game. So it's just different. They're just running on different settings.
The settings,
but
yep.
The fact that the PlayStation is able to do, like Mark Cerny talked about all this stuff in his Road to PlayStation video. A lot of people looked at it and was like, "Oh man, this is boring." Mm-hmm. 10-point teraflops is really 9-point whatever overclock, all this other dumb stuff.
Yeah, 9.2 variable.
Right. Yeah. variable clocks. I mean, everything that they kind of crapped on the PlayStation about, but then the fact these games could repeatedly, for the most part, are performing and sometimes looking better than the Series X version. That should not be happening based on what Microsoft said and about their console. So there's clearly some issues with, not saying it's a good console. It is a good console. And maybe their first party developers are going to be able to really get the most out of this hardware, because right now, third party is not saying they're not taking advantage of the hardware, but they are having to develop a Series S and a Series X version for the Xbox platform. And I do believe that is affecting the version you're getting on the Series X. So
absolutely. That's why. That's why Sony's was more thought out than Microsoft, because Microsoft, they went with 2 consoles, right? So of course they couldn't have thought it through. You know what I mean? Because they developed 2 different consoles with 2 different specs or whatever. So
and
then plus like the first party, right? They're gonna have to develop. They're gonna have to limit the design to the lowest common denominator, which is the Series S, and also they develop it on PC as well. They're forced to develop for PC for every single one of their games. So now they got to develop for the lowest spec common denominators on PC as well too. That's gonna affect all of the stuff. Meanwhile, PlayStation 5 developers, right, or Sony first parties, they don't got none of that shit to worry about. They just focus on the PS5. So we're gonna see another generation where, just like last generation, like when the PS4 Pro and the One X came out, the One X was more powerful, but you were getting better looking games on the PS4 when it came to first party, because nothing on the One X, God of War, all of that
Horizon Zero Dawn, all that stuff. Yeah. So that's what I mean. It's the same thing. Like, we're back here at the same situation. It's like the same thing where the Xbox is more powerful and the PlayStation 5 is less powerful on paper, but it's yielding the better performance in these games. And I think it's not even graphical performance, but it's not even graphics so much, because I remember with the One X, they would just jack up the resolution and Sony would run out of low resolution. But the thing is that Xbox would have more frame rate drops. Remember Resident Evil 3? Like, Resident Evil 3 demo, like they had to lower the resolution.
It ran at 4K in the PS4
they just jacked up the
1600p.
resolution, and the PlayStation, and then like Digital Foundry shows their thing, and they go, I don't know, like it's running at a higher resolution, but now when it comes to performance, the PlayStation is just running smooth.
But what did they do? What did Capcom do? They dropped the resolution down to the same as what the PS4 was, and then it was able to keep a lock 60 pretty much. So I think Microsoft is good at putting there's going to be an issue. This generation is just starting. We're in the beginning, the infancy of this generation. We're getting games on the Series S at 900p, 600 whatever p.
Yes,
we should be getting games running at sub HD resolutions on the next generation console.
It's worse than the One S.
It's running at lower resolutions than
698, some more shit like that at the medium or some shit like.
The One X is more. All right, go ahead.
Honestly, the One X seemed like it was much more capable. The CPU was dog shit, but it seemed like a much more capable console than this Series S. This Series S it's only going to get worse, because these game engines are going to become more demanding over the generation, and these games are going to struggle to run on that hardware. And Microsoft has pretty much handicapped themselves, because I hear people saying, well, maybe they'll drop the Series S in a couple of years, but this is the problem. Microsoft mandates that if a game is released on the Series X, it has to be released on the Series S. So developers are going to have to figure out a way to get their game to run on that hardware.
Oh yeah, you mean like the series consoles? They have to run on the series consoles. They could choose not like the medium. They could choose not to put it on the 1X, the 1S or whatever like that. But they gotta put it on the series.
Just like with the It's just like with the 1S and the 1X. You couldn't put a game out just for the 1X. It had to work on both
because of the whole. Yeah,
it's going to be the same. It doesn't matter if Microsoft realized the Series S was a bad decision and stops manufacturing it. For the rest of this generation, their developers and any third-party developers that makes a game for that console, it will have to be on the S, and it will have to also run on the S. And
can I ask something? Do y'all think that there will be any third parties that are bold enough to be like, yeah, Microsoft, we'll put our games on your platform, but we can't put it on the Series S because what we're trying to do exactly. Okay, so then what happens? Then we'll probably start seeing more PS5, PC. You know what I mean? Only games that skip over Microsoft because hold on, because check this out. Grand Theft Auto 6, right? What if they require, I don't know, the minimum at least 12 gigabytes of RAM, right?
Run a shit at 400p.
Grand Theft Auto 6. Yeah, to run Grand Theft Auto 6. Well, the fucking Series S can't do that, right? So what if Rockstar say, hey, the Series S is too weak to run our game, therefore we don't want to put our game on the Series S. And then Microsoft will be like, okay, well, you can't put it on the Series. Okay, then is Microsoft willing to lose out on having Grand Theft Auto 6 on their fucking platform? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. Like, it's going to be very interesting to see this shit. I don't know. I don't know.
Developer just recently said that the problem with the Series S is the amount of RAM and the lower bandwidth on the RAM on the Series S. And so what these people don't realize is that graphics, resolution, effects, textures, all that stuff can scale way down to very weak hardware. But the design of the game has to fit in the memory and the constraints of that console. We're not talking about how the game looks. We're talking about how it plays. We're talking about AI. We're talking about the world. That is going to be hamstrung by this weak hardware.
Yep, and I'm going to leave you with that scenario. We're going to wrap this up. So this is the thing. So to answer Chris's question, this is what there's two things that they can do. And then we're going to wrap this up because we went extremely late, but I appreciate the conversation. This is awesome. But this is the answer to Chris's question about what are you going to do when the next big game comes out and they can't run it on the S because it's weaker. And we'll talk about maybe a year or two from now. I think there's going to be two scenarios. One, they're going to upgrade all the hardware yet again. So we're going to have a Series S2. There's a reason why they call them series.
Series E.
The Series E.
I hope they come out with a Series E. That way they have SEX.
I know, right?
But that would fix the problem because new hardware is not going to fix the problem of the Series S existing. It does not.
Exactly. So this is the second problem, and I think if this is the second solution, I think this is going to be the solution. And here it is: xCloud. They're going to put xCloud on the consoles so that the Series S could play games that cannot run on it,
like the Switch,
so you need an internet connection.
The Switch.
Like the always online connection.
Well, you saw that other article where you need to have online to set up your Xbox. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You can't do that.
Oh yeah,
but that's what I think. Buddy Cactus says the Series P for Phil Ness. That's the next one that's coming out. But dude, I'm telling you, they're going to use xCloud because xCloud is going to come to Samsung TV. Not to say that I want it. This is horseshit, but this is what they're going to do to answer that problem, Chris. Because I think they know that Series S is not it can't hold up primetime games, especially when they start pulling away from last generation, cross generation upgrades and all this other shit, because you're seeing it right now. They're dropping that resolution just to get it running. Oh, they're like, well, the assets are the same, or the resolution is just like 720p.
No, it's not. How many games on the Series S have ray tracing?
Oh, yeah, you're right. That's another thing. They lied about that. Where's my Arnold thing?
Yeah, Control doesn't have ray tracing on this.
You're right. Control doesn't have the ray tracing.
I lied. Component as the Series X.
I lied.
It does not. It clearly doesn't, because there are a lot of games that it's just leaving ray tracing off the table.
Yes, you're right. They pulled out ray tracing on that one, and yeah, you're right. So like, it's not even running some of the assets. Maybe some of the some of the little graphical hitches or whatever like that. But ray tracing, it's not just coming ray tracing, and they're not even hitting close to 1440p on some of these multiplats. No. They're coming out like 1080p 60 or something like that, like, or even lower than that, 900p 60. It's like Xbox got ragged for 900p. Yeah, like dynamic capping off at 1080p and 900p. Like, what are you doing here for $300? That's why once Sony gets the stock in, that $400 PlayStation 5 is gonna be a friggin' gold mine, because
and storage. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that PlayStation 5 at $400 is gonna make that Xbox One S at $300 kill it. It's gonna kill it. I remember when they announced it, I'm like, holy shit, $400 and you're getting a true next gen console that could play the best versions of these games, and you're gonna pay $100 less. Like, the gain that you get from an Xbox to a PlayStation 4 from $300 to $400. It's ridiculous. That digital console is going to, once that's in stock, that is going to be the hardest one to keep in stock, because that one is the gold mine. That is a $400 discless console competing against a $300 discless console that is like almost like a half a generation behind, maybe even more.
And nobody wants to buy. Nobody
wants to buy old new.
Nobody wants to fuck. The Series S. Nobody gives a fuck. Yeah, people will rather spend $400 or $500 on the PS5 than the Series S. It's like,
a better investment.
Why the fuck you
for $100?
Listen, people are not buying 4K televisions, 65-inch 4K televisions to play a 900, 600p.
You do
They're
say
not
it.
doing it.
I don't give a shit what's up, Res or not. I remember having that 1S, and I had the 1S playing playing Ghost Recon, and it was just fuzzy. Then I got the PlayStation 4 Pro, and I could sit, and I noticed even from gaming on the same TV, like, I could sit so much closer and it looked clearer. And I thought it was because I was sitting so close to the TV that it looked fuzzy. No, it was because it was running at a lower resolution, and it was just upscaling it. That's why. Like, I remember I bought, like, I tried to buy like a couch, like a beanbag couch, just to sit further away from my TV, because I'm like, this game looks so friggin' fuzzy. And I thought because I was PC gaming, like I was sitting like maybe about like 3 feet away from like a big TV, I'm like, that's the problem. So I had to buy like a beanbag to think I'm gonna sit further away. Still looked fuzzy. I remember standing out in the hallway looking at it. I'm like, it still looks fuzzy. I got a PlayStation 4 Pro. I had no problem, because I'm like, I didn't have this problem when I'm playing on my PC because it's a higher resolution. But I realized the resolution difference. I saw it. It affected me right there. I'm like, yeah, I see this difference, and you can see it in the analysis. But the thing is that they're really going to use xCloud, I think, to kind of take that S and maybe even a thumbstick, the Xbox Phil Ness, as Series Phil Ness, and maybe put a thumbstick in the thing and use xCloud to leverage these more powerful games running on the weaker hardware. Like, I think that's the next step for xCloud, and I think that's what they're going to try to do, is they're going to try to use xCloud on the Series S, and that is going to be their kind of like their Fire Stick or their Fire TV or whatever the hell it is. Not to say that you're going to pay $300 to stream games and pay a $15 subscription, but dude, like, the thing is that, it's really a conundrum with them, what they're trying to do. And the problem is that they're depending on third party. That's why there's such an emphasis and such a criticism. Games like The Medium get really criticized because that is technically Microsoft's, like, what Microsoft is offering for its consoles. And when it's running at 2 screens at 30 frames at 698 frames a second, it's like, what are you doing here? This is supposed to be the best that your platform can do, and you cannot depend on third party, and you gotta have, that's why first party means so much to them. And when's the next time they're gonna have a first party launch game? What the hell is the Series S gonna look like running friggin' Flight Simulator? What is that gonna run at? 300p?
Oh my god!
It look like paper airplanes in that goddamn thing. Like, it's, come on. First of all, who the hell gives a shit about Flight Simulator? Like, come on. I don't know why that's even a topic.
I look like Gallagher.
I don't even understand. Yeah, right. Like, I don't even know what the hell that's gonna look like. But the thing is that Series S's existence, you see this in the games and in the multiplats. Like, the Series X is being held back because it's getting some sort of, like, the design, it's building from the S building up to the X, and they're getting that kind of whatever inherent, like, you know, your sins of the father, sins of the weaker console. It's bringing it over to the X, and the X is not being run at its fullest capabilities because has to run on the Series X, where Sony don't have that. And I think that, you know, for the sacrificial lamb for X Cloud, I just don't think that it was a smart deal. Like, I think they saw price point, and I think they would have been better off doing exactly what Sony did: a 500 Series X and a digital 400 Series X digital, and just call it a day. That 300 console is just gonna be like an appendix. It's gonna be just kind of a vestigial organ of why Xbox, like, oh man, I'm rambling now. But the thing is like, remember, like, they had to shake the stigma of 900p and having the weakest console on the market when they brought out that 1X. Like, they were like, forget about that VCR box, forget about 4K, like the weak system. Remember, like, this is the most powerful Xbox. And then just to kind of start the next gen with the same kind of vestigial organ of like a weaker system. Like, why you still continue to make Xbox associated with 900p gaming in a 4K world? Like, why would you keep the Series S around just to remind everybody that, we could play lower than 1080p, hey everyone, for not $200, but for $300, which, you know, I don't get it. But I do think that it's for the bigger picture.
Jim Ryan said it like this. He said that Sony did look into multiple SKUs with a cheaper option and a more expensive option with a lower spec hardware, but they realized that was just a bad idea.
Yeah.
And so they went with just a digital console and on the disc. And
that's right.
And
they said the same
that's
thing
all
about
they
the
do.
Pro.
That's all Xbox needed to do. They could have completely alleviated this situation with the Series S.
They didn't ask.
They should have just Xbox Series X Digital Edition, $400. Boom.
Exactly.
Boom.
I don't know why.
Then now, like, I don't know, man. Microsoft is fucking stupid.
Because you know what, man? They got one path only. They could talk about all the options they want. They got one path: subscriptions for the cloud of gaming, and that's the way they're gonna go. And I think the S exists not because they want us to game on a cheaper console. I think that's just kind of like a side piece. I think the real reason why is because that's gonna be their xCloud blades. Like, that system is going to power their cloud. Both of them, the X and the S. That's why they're proud. That's why that S is so small, because it's probably meant to fit in a server blade for the cloud. That's the whole reason why it exists. They don't give a shit about us or like what we're going to play and stuff. All they care about is making hardware for their cloud future that they think people want to play Gears 5 on a friggin' phone, because that's what people care about. That's why they're disconnected. And if that whole doubling Xbox Live is not an indication of where they want to go and what they want to do, they revealed their ace. They revealed their friggin' hand right there. It's just a matter of time before they do it again, and they don't learn their lesson. That's the thing that grinds me so much. It's like, you already had it. It's still to this day, people think you got to do a 24-hour check-in because of the missteps that you did back in 2013. Why would you do the same thing with Xbox Live? Do you know how many people still probably think Xbox Live is going to double in price and probably jump ship? Meanwhile, they forget that they took it back and they reinstated it. Like, you've done some damage, and I don't understand how you don't learn your lesson. You released a $500 console and got laughed off the stage, Phil. You stumbled on your numbers because you didn't. The $500 people were silent, and you did a smirk like that. Never again would you announce a $500 console on stage. Son of a bitch goes and announces a 1X at $500 on stage. I'm like, didn't you learn your lesson? Like, didn't you learn your lesson when you got laughed off the stage?
I don't know what they were thinking. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna have a console out there for $300, a cheap console and stuff like that. That's gonna, people will flock to that and shit. Like, no, because guess what guess what other system is $300 that way more people want
79 million
than an Xbox.
Consumers,
you know what I mean? The Switch.
Yep. They spend the money on the games, man.
They would spend money on a good product, and the thing is, Microsoft, the Series S clearly shows Microsoft is not interested in pushing and moving gaming forward.
Gaming forward.
They are only interested in pushing Game Pass. The Series S is a Game Pass box. That's all it's for. And it has no disk drive. It is a digital console.
It's a low barrier. It's a low entry barrier Game Pass box.
But you put a 512 gigabyte.
And what would it do? 3 million now. Like, let's see how much many legs it has. Like, to see if that, because I think those Game Pass numbers, that 18 million.
Oh, it's gonna sell decent at launch, but as time goes by, like PlayStation 5 is gonna take off, and it's gonna be the same situation this generation.
I agree.
You know what I mean? It's gonna be the same situation.
Like, I think that 18 million,
it's gonna sell decent at first, but then it's just gonna drop.
Yeah, like for $300, your kids are probably going like, I want to play Animal Crossing, I want to play this, I want to play that, all these Nintendo games. Like, nobody's saying like, I want to play Minecraft Dungeons, I want to play Halo 5, the only exclusive game that I can't play anywhere else. Like nobody's talking about 4-year-old games that people, like 7-year-old games that people want to play. Like, they are not current in the conversation. They got current with Game Pass. That's why I think that these 18 million Game Pass, all they're doing is shifting people from Xbox Live to Game Pass. That's basically what they wanted to do. And I don't think that they're pulling or recruiting from like cell phones, from PlayStation, from Nintendo. Like, they're not pulling customers from them. They're just transitioning their own customers to the cloud. That's all they're doing. And they tried to do it faster with that whole Xbox Live price increase. But I just think, the whole thing, we'll see where it goes. But, Digital Foundry, it's glitches, I guess. I guess the Xbox Series S to bring it back is a glitch. Hopefully they fix it. I'll just end it on Digital Foundry's terms. But, guys, I want to thank you again for a long, long show. This was a huge gaming grindhouse. Frog's probably, I don't know where he had chases dogs there. I know J-Dub had some stuff come up, so, we'll try to get him on next time. But Link, thank you for jumping in. And Chris, thank you again for your time here. But please tell everybody where they can find you. Chris, tell them where they can find you, because we're going to be talking the rest of this week, I'm sure.
Yes. So you could catch me on Twitter, at Chris Righteous. I also have information on there as far as my YouTube channel as well. I should be putting out. I've been slow and lazy to put out content, but I'm definitely gonna start ramping it up. And you catch me on Planet Xbox every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Also the Salty's Gaming Podcast. And then another thing I forgot to mention in the beginning of the show. Anybody who's watching this, please send up prayers for Kid Smooth, because he has COVID.
Smooth, man.
He has COVID. He has COVID right now. So
hopefully
you know what I mean? Better, so hopefully he gets better. Please send prayers up for him and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So other than that, man, it was great. I'm glad during the podcast the NX Gamer thing popped up as well.
Hot off the presses.
Because we were just talking about that. Look, I was just talking about that, so I wasn't just saying some bullshit.
No, man, I played it.
We saw this comparison, and then NX Gamer pretty much exposed and was like, nah, like it ain't the same. It's not the same. Okay, so man. Man.
Well, thank you, Chris. Thank you for coming through.
Yeah.
Hey, Link, where can they find you?
Hey, you probably cannot find me.
I can't find them. I tried finding them on Twitter. I'm trying to hunt them down.
I got Twitter. I'm on Twitter.
He's there.
I'm on Twitter. I don't have a YouTube channel. I just hop in wherever people are allowed to come in and give my opinion. But it was a really good show and everything like that. And thanks for letting me hop in here and chop it up with you guys.
Thanks, man. Get well, Kid Smooth. I'll put that out there, man.
Yeah, get well, Kid Smooth.
I know he said he has some flu-like symptoms, so hopefully he gets better. But so I want to thank everybody again for coming through. Hit that like button on the way out. Hit that subscribe button. I did have a cool thing, when people hit subscribe. So we'll see it next time. But please subscribe for the next time. I'm probably going to do a Grinds My Gears later this week about some topics. But, what pretty much went crazy. I don't want to see that guy again from that head of Cloud. Oh, man, that thing just pop the gasket for that son of a bitch. But anyway, guys, what a great show. We had so much content, so many things that we talk about. I'm glad that we got through everything that was on the list, and even more so with NX Gamer. But I want to thank everybody for their time. Huge chat. Ravenflow, thank you again, man. Thank you. Aziz, what's up? Pug Channel, Ghostface, thank you guys for hanging in there and staying through. And everybody, Garuda, even Froggy. Froggy's cool, man. He probably gave me that dislike there. Not Frogs, but Froggy and barbecue sauce. And shout out to everybody, man. And hope everybody has a good night. And talk to you guys soon. Stay locked here to Grinds My Gears. And follow me over on Twitter at Jez7780. But with that, everybody, good night. And you never know what makes the GrindsBoard the next time. And then we might be on here like Chris, where you could grind your gears. So we are